if it's I think there's been some pro bouts. I went to go look, but I think some of Jake Paul's shit has counted as pro bouts when they're 2-minute rounds in his early going on, but I could be wrong. But either way, it seems like if you want to get a fight happening, you get 2 minutes rounds, you get reduced round count, and then as your last draw, the last thing you do, you no knockout clause. That's just how it seems. Did you see Tank Davis knock out Frank Martin?
Yeah, man. So I actually tailed another guy on here on Twitter for those fights. Some of those lines were kind of blown out of whack, so I actually did have a bet on Frank Martin. I think he was at plus 500, just because like it should have been a little closer line. Some of these lines were a little wide, but yeah, man, I did cash one of the three, so I did end up going positive on it. But yeah, Tank lit that man up, boy. Put that boy down.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Tank looked levels above him. There's nothing else you can say about it. Good on Tank. I haven't always been a fan of Tank, but like at the post fight presser, he won me over a little bit. He seems to he seems to be growing up. I don't know a better term. Like someone asked him about Ryan, and instead of getting all worked up, he was just like, "Oh, Ryan, yeah, I'll beat his ass again." Like I don't know. It seems like he's maturing some, and just some of the things that Tank were saying were conducive to not acting as petty as he used to. Um, you know me. I like when I see that in a young fighter when they make that turn. Shit, I hated Cody Garbrandt until 3 knockouts into his career. Meaning he got knocked out. Do you see Greg Hardy get knocked out for like the seventh fucking time in 2024?
Yeah, man. Whenever I saw it initially, I jumped straight into the group chat. It was like, golly, it seems like that's like four times in the last 5 months. It's like, who is getting this guy approved to fight so fast after knockouts, man? And it's like he's not looking better. They're looking the knockouts are worse on his end, are looking worse and worse on his end.
Bro, he got put into the fucking ropes. I mean, he straight up got dropped into the ropes. He sat his ass down on the bottom rope and looked up at the referee with a thank you. Not, oh, what are you doing? Or he looked up at the referee like, thank fucking goodness.
No way he's fighting for a paycheck. Look, you got to imagine he's. I mean, I don't know. A lot of the NFL players, man, they do lose their wealth because they're not very smart with their money. But like, it seemed like he was financially stable for a while there. Like he was doing good. Is he just fighting because he wants to be famous? Still, is that where we're at with him? He just, even if it's a knockout on his end, people are still saying his name. Is that enough for him? It's just kind of weird, man. Like, what is the end goal here? You're not even fighting high level boxing anymore, or ever you ever were.
Yeah, I would argue I gotta think he is broke. If I recall, 80%. It's like it's just short of 80% of NFL players file bankruptcy within 2 years of retirement. Like 8 out of 10 almost. Like fucking Google it, look it up. I'm telling you, it is almost 8 out of 10 of them that go broke. So man, just based on that, I don't know anything about Greg's situation, but based strictly on that, I'm gonna assume he probably is fighting for money. He may not be bootstrap but broke like some people are, but I'm assuming he's fighting for some money. Speaking of that, I'll just hop real quick. Sean Merriam recently revealed on a podcast he has his own fight promotion now. But before he did all of that, he revealed that Dana White contacted him to try to put a fight together between him and Greg Hardy in the octagon.
Oh, you talking about Sean Merriman? I know you don't. I know you don't mess with the foosball too much, but that's lights out, baby. That's a badass. He obviously retired now, linebacker for
Isn't that
the
isn't
Chargers.
isn't that how I said it, Merriam? I mean, I know who he is.
Sean Merriman. Yeah, dude, he's a hoss, man. Like I couldn't imagine that big son of a bitch coming after you in the ring. Just on athletic level. I mean, he was a far superior athlete than Greg Hardy. So that would have been a crazy fight to see. And there's
Yeah,
got to be some bad blood there for Sean Merriman to just want to fight. It's got to have to do with something with the allegate or not allegations. The reasons why he was booted out of the NFL.
yeah. Dana thought he was on to something there. YB, I see you with your hand up, bud. What's happening to you tonight? Get after it.
Hey, bro, I was just gonna say, goddamn, I was just gonna say, I was, I don't know if it was him or not, but didn't a picture of Greg Hardy working at fucking Walmart selling phones go viral at some point? Or was that somebody else?
So if I recall, it came out that he was doing a promotion or something, is what they said. But I did see him with a Walmart vest on, bro. So yeah, it looked that way. And I don't get
Respect the
no.
hustle, guys. Respect the hustle, man. You got to grind for them bills, boy.
Hey, I know a lot of people really hate Greg Hardy, but I'll say this: I don't got no reason to wish any bad on Greg Hardy, man. Like, hey, we're all just trying to fucking eat, so hey. But I do think he should quit crawling in the ring and getting his ass knocked the fuck out like a fool. Last, did you see it? I know we watch UFC. I know we all, I know that's what we do. But did you guys actually see the knee? Did you guys take any time to see the way Perez's knee buckled? I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
dude,
honest.
the knee stayed in the same place as he fell. It was a crazy looking fall when he fell, and you just see the ripple as it pops. Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, so I know some people were trying to say, "Oh, Tyra is so good. He leaned his body." I watched so much of this shit. I can't remember who said it, but someone's literally verbatim said it like that. And then some others got jumped on the bandwagon there. Tatsura Tyra is great. I don't like him, but fine. Just he's great. That was not on purpose. And if it was, he's a really shitty fighter. I'll say it that way. So I don't think it was on purpose, for whatever that's worth. But others seem to. Others seem to think that Tyra knew he would buckle that knuckle or that knee.
Oh no, like the tearing of the knee, like there's no way he could have known that. Like, I mean, he knows the kind of pressure and torque he's putting on the knee, but the whole thing was just trying to get the takedown. The tearing of the knee was just a subsequent outcome of that. You know what I'm saying? So
That's what I'm saying.
for him to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to destroy this man's knee. No, that's a knee bar or a heel hook. That's how you destroy somebody's knee. That is just like I said, it's just a unhappy coincidence. I mean, to that point, he was flattened out. He was probably about to get finished anyways. It was just an ugly outcome, really.
Yeah, and I'll say that Tyra is. He definitely knew that the angle was going to change some things, and he was intentionally trying to make him fall, but he didn't.
Did you see the clip from the original guy that did it in one? I forget who he did it against, and I forget the guy's name because I wish I could give credit, but he was the guy that actually invented the move, and he used it to get down. I forget who it was. It was a high profile fighter over in one, but yeah, like
Yeah,
pretty
they
brutal
say
stuff.
so. I kind of I did see that, but my thing is, bro, didn't I don't have time to go back. Didn't Hoist Gracie do it and actually reach down and almost grab someone's fucking ankle and fold them over like that? Didn't he actually reach all the way back on somebody and grab their fucking leg and yank it out from under them backwards?
I've seen Aljamain Sterling do that. I'm pretty sure he straightened out somebody's knee bar doing that earlier in his career, but I don't know about Hoist. I'd be lying if I said so, Joe.
I have a visualization in my mind of Hoist Gracie fucking basically leaning back to the right, reaching down and grabbing a dude literally by the ankle and pulling his fucking leg back. And the dude falls and lands on his knee and fucking buckles. Whatever. We only got about 15 minutes. Anybody in here for the card breakdown? I see a few new names. Really glad to see you guys. Mics are open. We get on to the card breakdown at 30 minutes after the hour. So stick with us for about 15 minutes and then we get after it. We just hit these hot topics to start. Chimaev's health issues. I don't. I do think we see Chimaev fight again. I don't think Chimaev ever makes a run. Um, yep, that's just gonna be my take on that. It's a pretty hot topic right now. You got a take on Chimaev and his health there, Trace, or Usman up there? I seen you grab the mic, but I know sometimes you're settling your shit in this early, but
I can take it real quick if he's not on the mic. Yeah, dude, people get sick, man. It shit happens. I get it. People are making light of it. Always tummy hurt, but bro, food poisoning, that shit sucks, man. I don't. If you've never had it, it's pretty fucking miserable stuff. I mean, I was already on Whittaker for that fight. I think people are overlooking him as we'll get into this card tonight. I'm still on definitely on Whittaker now, but yeah, that's brutal stuff, man. Like he would be fighting at such a disadvantage, just starting off the fight going into it. So I get it. It sucks because we lost a very appealing fight, but yeah, Ikram has a chance to prove he's the next big thing. Kind of step past Hamzat, even though he has a loss to Hamzat. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out tonight or Saturday night rather.
Yeah, I think we may see a little bit. If Chimaev could stay healthy, I think we could see a little bit of Izzy Pereira out of Chimaev, Ikram. Ozzy, nice to have you on the mic, bud. Good to see you tonight. Get after it.
Yeah, g'day, fellas. Just a quick one on this. I want to add. This dude's a big dude. He used to make 170, which is kind of crazy. Now, when you do have these underlying issues, I know he got real sick during COVID or whatever. Um, once you start cutting weight, man, your immune system goes down, and these problems you've been suffering with come back. It's very common. My son had a real bad staph infection. He got from Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand, and that was 4 years ago, maybe. Every time he cuts weight for a fight, bang, staph comes back all over his body, and he's totally fucked. So whatever the underlying issues he might have, it might come up every single time he cuts weight. We're gonna have to wait and see. But this guy, he's already kind of got such a big name. He had those four fights really quick, smashed everybody, and became just a star. And really hasn't fought much since. So this was going to be a big fight for him. I don't think they're going to headline him next time. I think they're going to, co-main or something like that. But yeah, he's got to try to get his health in check for sure.
So I think he's got ARDS. I thought I was on the trail of thinking he had lupus. And yeah, that was just my original thought. And I know they're saying he got poisoned. So first it was food poisoning, and I've seen tweets that someone thinks someone actually poisoned his food. I will defend him here and say I had the vids. I had the vids like 3 times. Food poisoning is way fucking worse, at least in my experience. I had horrible food poisoning. So you can't have food poisoning in a fight. But I think he's got ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. It comes after you catch the vid real bad. And I think that he battles that. I think that that's why he has those breathing issues. I think when you listen real close, when he's training and they're letting him talk, you can tell that they're trying to sound edit how deep he's breathing out a lot. And it's not like his body is taking deep breaths, but it sounds deep, like he's wheezing. But I think he's got ARDS. That's just my opinion. Usman.
Yeah, what up? First off, I was going to say, why would you want to see him get make a run? Like at this point, he's so unhealthy and just so unreliable. Like I don't think even the company would want him anywhere near a belt. But I did share that tweet up there talking about Chimaev's good friend Tom Khan, saying that all the food poisoning shit was rumors and that it's something a whole lot more serious, which gets me not happy that he's sick, but like, I don't know. I've had food poisoning too. It's absolutely horrible. You're fucking on the toilet throwing up for a week. I get it. But I hated everybody like, oh man, food poisoning's real bad. Like, I don't care. I don't care about that at all. Like, why set him up for a freaking main event, especially when he's shown a track record. We've seen the post already about he's had 5 main event schedules, hasn't made it to any of them. I don't want to see him make a run, whether it's food poisoning or not. I don't give a damn. I'm just so done with the Chimaev train.
Yeah, and what I meant by run is I didn't mean like a title run. I just meant we're never going to see him put together another set of fights. When he did it, they were all really close together, which, if he's got any bigger health problems that we don't know about, that could explain why he was able to do it when he was healthy. You know, when you're healthy, you're good. When you're good, you're good. The judge rejected the UFC antitrust settlement offers. If I recall, it's $168 million, which is about 10% of the potential $1.6 billion. If Eric, goddamn, not Eric Rudd. I follow two Erics. I'm so sorry. I'll look him up and shout his name out.
McCracken?
Yeah. That's the lawyer guy.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, okay. So he did a little video saying that the judge likely is looking at that it's so little. That he said the judge basically said, you know, the judge wants a fighter by fighter breakdown of the money disbursements because it's so little. So I think they're going to have to, I knew it was low anyway. I think the UFC is going to have to come up to about 500 million bucks before it's all said and done. I don't think they get out of it any cheaper than that. Even 400 million at 25% of the total might get them there, but not no damn 10%. All right, we're about 10 minutes out from the card, but I love hitting these topics. It looks like the fight between Chris Cyborg and Larissa Pachenko won't happen. The PFL is going to instead book Pachenko versus fucking Liam McCourt. Like, if they don't just goddamn let Cyborg out of her fucking contract already, it is such bullshit. Such bullshit. The PFL is dragging these folks along, and the people that they're dragging along with name value usually comes with some age in the fight game. And when you're dragging these people with this name value along, you're also dragging along these people that are at the end of their career. I got feelings about it. YB, you were up first.
Oh no, we don't get to see that fight. Man, what am I gonna do? Ah, shit. I was really looking forward to it.
So I legit would have
Draft.
watched. I would have watched.
That's actually that would have been a banger of a fight, man.
Yeah, I didn't even.
That's gonna stand up war.
I don't tune into a lot of PFL shit. I would have tuned in for that fight. Probably not that card, but that fight for sure.
Dude, Pacheco's gonna brutalize Liam McCourt. Like,
Yeah, I think that they've decided. I think they know they're going to lose Cyborg, and they don't want to build her up or risk Pacheco. Pacheco has a win over fucking Kayla. Yeah,
Harrison.
it just makes sense that they're going to protect her and argue that she is the GOAT. They're going to argue she's the GOAT. If she fucks around and loses to Cyborg, that's all over. Usman.
Man, I think the most bullshit out of this is like YB can feel however he wants. Like I would have watched it too, and I'm not ganging up on him. But the thing that pisses me off the most is that Cyborg just wants to fight. She just wanted a fucking fight. A couple months ago, I was actually in an argument with freaking Ian Parker, and Cyborg was in the comments backing me up because I'm saying she just wants a fight now, not in fucking November, not in October, not in September. She wants a fight now, and and Bellator before they sold had promised they did a damn face off in the ring, Cyborg versus Leo McCourt. Now they're giving now they're giving Cyborg the ultimate finger by saying, "Yeah, you know what? We're gonna put you even more on the back burner, and we're gonna give that McCourt fight to Pacheco," which is something nobody gives a damn about. Like, you can think Cyborg was gonna beat the hell out of McCourt anyways, but at least there was already a story written. At least there was a face off that we saw a
Bro,
while back.
it's a top 5 women's MMA fight, and it's the only top 5 women's MMA fight they could make in their entire promotion. And
Their promotion, like how they promote their fights, PFL and Bellator separately, both were just questionable. Like, they don't promote shit, they don't push nothing out. Like, at least whenever Bjorn Rebney on Bellator, dude, you saw on Spike TV, you saw the promotions for those fights all the time. I loved Bellator back then, the tournament style. But now, like, you don't hardly ever see anything, or if you do, it's just Bellator 303. See you next week. That's it.
yeah, I liked Bellator. I like Scott Coker's reign, just not the last 12 or 13 months. But that's about how long I told you they were for sale. Shout out to us because we were in here talking about Bellator being for sale at least 4 or 5 weeks before anybody anywhere mentioned it. Yeah, I take big pride in that one. Ozzy, get after it.
Sorry, mate. Just a real quick one. I was going to ask, what is Scott Coker doing now? Is he running anything?
He's doing a local
is he doing
promotion
something?
out in Cali with oh man, I'm so embarrassed I can't remember who it's with one of the Gilbert Melendez maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
maybe trying to start another strike force or something.
Yeah, but I don't think they plan to do it that way. I think they really plan to build a local promotion to help local guys, more of like a Cage Warriors for California, where it's local guys.
Yeah,
you got to be here to get these fights. We're not traveling. You got to come here, but we're going to build anybody that wants to be here.
That's kind of what they did with Strikeforce, right? I think they were basically in California. They had good fights and they used to sell out, man. No promotions are selling out anything except for the UFC. You know, he did such a great job back then. I'm surprised they didn't keep him on.
Who was
Sorry,
it?
I didn't want to get too far off.
Titan? Someone just sold out 45,000 fucking people. The place was packed. It was insane. YB.
Oh, I was still on the cyborg thing. I was just gonna ask because I all jokes aside, obviously I have to make stupid jokes or I'll die. I've seen nothing but like that girl trying to fight, and I thought it was kind of like on the level of what they did with Gegard Mousasi. Like they're moving really fucking suspect over there, like super suspect, and everybody wants to like hate on Dana. We don't see any of this shit from him, bro.
Dana is the hero in all of this. All Don Davis has done in his quest to discredit Dana White has proven how good he is. I'm not saying it couldn't be better. I'm not saying he's the golden child. I'm not saying fighter pay couldn't be. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're looking left to right, bro, you're gonna go fight for Dana White 10 times out of 10, and that's not even a fucking question. Which if it was Scott Coker, a lot of people would have went and fought for Scott Coker because they did. Nobody's going to Don Davis to over Dana White. It's just not happening. If you're signing with Don Davis, it's because you didn't get to talk to Dana White at this point. All right, we only got about 5 minutes, and then I really like to try to get into the card on time, so I'm just going to rattle off a few because I write all this shit up, so I like to throw it out there. Jorge Masvidal has criticized Herb Dean, saying basically that he's a shitty referee. He has discontent for him, especially regarding eye poke incidents in his fights with Kobe Covington, which required laser surgery, and just kind of went off on a rant. And then, my bad, John Anik is defending Jason Herzog's stoppage the other week. Amivov Cannonier. We've talked about it. Herzog was trying to do what he thought was right, but it's still a bad stoppage. Just because your intentions were right doesn't make it good. Like there's that just because you meant to do a good job doesn't mean that you did a good job. If you're supposed to dig a 6-foot hole and you work really hard and the hole's only 5 fucking feet when you're done, you didn't do the job. I'm not mad at him. I still think he's a good ref. It was just a shit stoppage. What else do I got in here? So Reyes and Jones are going back at it. Reyes is saying that Jones went up to heavyweight to run from him. That's absolutely not true. I'm not even going to discredit Reyes or whatever he does right now, but that's absolutely not true. And your first win in 5 fights, and the first thing you do is start talking about John Jones again. Focus on another fucking win, buddy. We have seen you get your ass beat over and over lately. O'Malley and Merab are still at it. Jamal is all right. Jamal Hill is a fucking crybaby. We got 2 minutes. Jamal Hill whines and cries about fucking everything since he lost that belt. And I really liked Jamal Hill, and I was a fan of his, and I can't fucking stand him anymore. Trace, how do you feel about the fact that he called out? And you could tell me, hey, man, he's just doing this thing. I like the guy, and I'm not going to argue with you, but calling out Herb Dean so late, bitching at AP about it so late. How do you feel about him having so much emotion about the way that fight ended now?
I think we just seen where he went kind of from like people like you said, people really liked him, people were rooting for him, and then he gets knocked out, and then all of a sudden people start making fun of him. So he's going through the rush of being the guy that everybody loved or kind of loved. Now that everybody seems to love to hate and shit on. So I get it, but yeah, actually seen a clip earlier today where they were saying like, "Oh, I was good. Herb Dean didn't give me enough time to fight back or whatever." And then in the video in slow mo, it's him getting hammer fisted and his eyes just looking the complete opposite way because he's obviously he's out the entire time. So like, there's no disputing it. Like it was. I mean, I get it that the stoppage was weird, but he actually threw the first strike, if I remember right, or at least feigned like he was going to throw the first strike, and then got countered, if memory serves. So yeah, it's like if he gotten hit and had not thrown the first punch or initiated first, then yeah, you could kind of say, I wasn't ready, but you engaged first. It's kind of you gave the all clear, man. You were good to go, and you got caught. You just kind of got to deal with it, man. We see it over and over again with guys how they deal with losses. Worked out for Sean O'Malley. He just pretended like it never happened, and he's just been kicking people's ass ever since. Outside of the close fight with Piotr Yan, obviously, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see how he acts when he wins again.
I liked your analogy at the beginning there because he reminds me very much of the most popular guy you ever knew, who becomes very mad at everybody when he's no longer the most popular guy. All right, it's time to move, but I want to let everybody get off. Ozzy hammer it out, and then Usman close it out, and we're going to switch over to the card.
Sorry, man. I'm going to be real quick on this. Jamal Hill, champion, dude. Champion. And his critics are drunk fucking assholes that lost their $10 bet on him to win. Stay out of the comments. Do not read the fucking comments. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. They got to stop checking their Twitter.
Yeah, I posted a thing about him crying every time he disagrees. Every time Jamal Hill disagrees with a fan, and it's the meme of him crying because it's exactly what you said, bro. Just if you can't handle it, then just stop fucking looking. Usman.
So before I get into all of that, because I am going to give some pushback, remember I was the biggest Jamal Hill fan. I came in here and told y'all that he was a special, that he was going to put Pereira out. If you go to my profile, my pinned tweet was all about Jamal Hill, and this is kind of the pushback that I was going to give y'all. He's always had the criticism before he lost and the crying. It was because he's fat and his ankle, he hurt his Achilles because he's fat. My pinned tweet was there justifying his performance against Thiago Santos and how that was the best Thiago Santos and the last good Santos that we've ever seen. As somebody who was leading the bandwagon of the Jamal Hill fan club, yeah, that's no longer my pinned tweet anymore. I don't want to hear him. I don't want to see him. It's like, dude, just quiet down a little bit, man. Just stop. Just please stop it.
My biggest fear is that he becomes unbearable after he wins again. Like he comes back to and fuck all y'all, all that kind of stuff like that, bringing that kind of energy. That's what I'm like. At that point, I'm for sure off the train.
Well, and then he'll sail off, and nobody will talk about him, and nobody will remember him, and he'll become a guy that that's the difference between making an impression that stays with time and an impression and not. So, yeah, I hope Jamal settles back down. All right, that's going to do it for the hot topics. That's 3 minutes over. I appreciate everybody's patience. We're going to go ahead and get into the card. I need to timestamp this out. Give me just a second here because we end up uploading this at some other places. So we're at 33 minutes, dead picks. I got that stamped down. Quick plug. Thank you to everybody tuning into our YouTube. We've tripled our followers in like the past couple weeks, which is only it's just a couple hundred, but moving along real quick. Done several 100,000 views over there with our reels and our shorts. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in, and our viewership on these spaces that get uploaded over there on YouTube have really went up as well. So shout out to everybody. Fuck Rumble, fuck Facebook. Yeah, they want you to pay and they don't get you no traffic. So you'll find us strictly here on X and strictly on YouTube. Those will be our only two platforms from now on. Usman does the space on Sunday nights to review the cards. Shout that out. And then our website, capmma.com. We've got live odds from up to 40 books. Sometimes you see some errors on the boards, man. It's reading that information live. Not all places are reporting correctly at all times. We've got a parlay calculator. We've got tail of the tape. You can side by side any UFC fighters. Type their name in, type the other name in, click UFC or click PFL or click one, and side by side their UFC stats, PFL stats, one stats. Check scorecards. You can search for scorecards over there. It's all free. No ads, no pop-ups. We don't drag you down like SureDog, where it loads 18 fucking browsers to look at the website. And tomorrow I will upload our news section. So now the 7 biggest news outlets, if all stories written by them in the last 3 weeks about that fighter will appear next to the fighter's name. I will get that all uploaded tomorrow. It is actually set today, but I did not have time before the space. With all of that, let's kick this card off. We are looking at UFC Saudi Arabia, headlined by Ikram Aliskerov versus Robert Whittaker. Usman, you want to do some tail of the tape tonight, or you want me to get it?
I spoke to him earlier. He's a little go ahead, Usman.
You got it, bro. You got it.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
he's a little preoccupied tonight. He got stuff going on. If you can do tele tape, we ain't got to run down all the numbers. Just a
Yeah, I
this
got
guy
it.
versus that guy type shit.
Yeah, I got it. So it's Yao. It's Lee Chang Ho versus Long Xiao. Is that how those names are said, Trace?
Long Zhao.
Yeah, I thought that. I mean, I was close, bro. Give me something
No,
here.
yeah, you're good, bro. You're good. I'm actually impressed. I know Chinese names aren't always the easiest.
Yeah, I feel like those and Arab names I can get. It's all the rest that I just absolutely butcher, man. I even butcher some American names. It's so bad. Anyway, if you were over at our website right now, these boys are reporting from 30 different books for 18 days. Lee is minus 104 on average. Long is minus 120 on average. So this is a split. This is a pick 'em. You can probably find some plus money somewhere on Lee if you bet at multiple books. Make sure you have a look around. I'm not going to hit much tail of the tape for this fight, Trace. I'll hit it a little better on some of the fights later on. What do you got on this fight, bud?
Yeah, I didn't dive too far into this one. It's typical wrestler versus the striker. Lee being the wrestler. I'm taking the over on this. I'm going to use the split strat for sure. I know for sure whenever Usman finishes it up this week when he gets time to get to it, that this fight will be on his split strategy for sure, and it'll definitely hit all the criteria for the overs. I think it's already at minus 200. So yeah, like I said, I've never been the highest on the UFC China guys or the guys coming out the road to China. So yeah, just don't invest too much money unless you feel like you have a strong footing on this fight. Take the over. Pass it off to Mike. What you got on this fight, Mike?
Okay, so from what I can see, this should be Xiaolong all day. And usually I love a good wrestler, but in my eyes, wrestlers, good, even good wrestlers, are a bad matchup for Xiaolong. Xiaolong has really good defense. Even if you beat him to the hips or you get him at the good angle where he's supposed to go down, he just doesn't go down. And he has a really he's got really powerful striking, man. He really likes to make wrestlers pay. And if you watch his last fight against I think it was what's his name? But it was a really good wrestler. This guy, he has really good, even standing up, like he knows how to manipulate the joints, the elbows, the knees. He knows how to keep control. And he could not get a hold of this man or keep him in his grip. I think this is Xiaolong all day. And I'm taking him at that. I think he's like, what, minus 120? Or what was it? What was the price?
Yeah, it's basically a pick 'em. I think Zhao Long is a little bit like minus 120, like minus 125, like you said.
Yeah, it's
So he is
Xiaolong.
the slight favorite.
Just because he's a wrestler and he has I think the wrestlers are like a bad matchup for him. He knows he has good takedown defense and he knows how to make wrestlers pay. It's Xiao Long.
Yeah, so this is the road to the UFC finale or title match or whatever you want to call it. This is that, right? This is like their the Tough
Yeah, the
finale.
finale, their version of the finale. Yeah, these guys are both coming off of two. Well, hell, he fought on there almost a year ago, man. Like he fought his last fight was 8/27/23. So like 10 months since his last fight. So I
Yeah.
don't know what the hold up on that fight is.
So I'll be honest, I got to hit some of this card. The early prelims, I didn't get to hit real hard this week. You guys know I pump a lot into the other content we do. But as soon as I realized what fight this is, they want Lee to win this fight. Let's be very clear. They are pushing for the UFC is holding their fucking breath that Lee is gonna win this fight. Lee's got some star power. So I know it's like a tough type scenario, so that doesn't always mean that who the UFC wants, the UFC gets. But I would assume that the UFC is pushing for Lee to get this fight for whatever that's worth. And I mean, I would probably favor him on that just because I'm one of them guys, but for no other good reason. Trace, am I good to go to the next fight, bud?
I think Ozzy had a take on this fight. Ozzy, you still want to get on this one?
Oh shit, Usman too. My bad, bro. I was looking up at the screen.
Usman, I guess Ozzy's not there. If you got your mic, go ahead, brother.
I put my hand up right as you said, can we go to the next one? So I understand. First off, just going to say that I will be more than likely trying to get the split strat out before the show so that everybody can see it and everybody can look at it when I'm talking about it. The only thing that sucks about that is for fights like this, there are absolutely no props for this. I get all my lines or like the props for the lines to do the split strat on Bet Online. I know the over is set at 2.5, 2.5 at -200, but there's no other information on there, so can't really do anything about that one. For this one, I'm on Lee. Just looked at their last fight, just liked him a little bit more, but not anything in depth.
Fair enough. If nobody else has got a take on this one, Joe, we can go ahead and dive into the next fight.
The next one is Brendson Ribeiro versus Magomed Gadzhiyasulov. Shit, I'm looking at
Hey, nobody gonna hold it on this one, brother.
Gad,
Yes, yeah, whatever.
Gad,
Gadzhiyasulov or something like that.
Gadzhiyasulov. I got it wrong. Gadzhiyasulov. Fuck, that's a hard one, man.
Just go with the first name.
I'm not Ariel Hawani. Neither one of these guys are real UFC deep talent. Not Not surprised they made the Saudi Arabia card, but neither one of them are like vets by any mean. Brendson is plus 259. That's 30 books, 29 days of averaging lines out there. Plus 259. Magomed is minus 345. Ribeiro is actually the one who is, he seems to get it done. You're either going to knock him out or you're going to get knocked out. I would assume the under on this fight is probably a pretty safe bet if you're a parlay guy. But that's all I would take on this one. I'll go over to Mike first. Mike, what do you got on this one?
Now I would say he is a UFC level fighter. The only problem is his cardio. He doesn't like you don't even have to work him that hard, and he's still gonna get tired. But the grappling and the striking all favor Gadzhiyasulov, and I'm never high on Ribeiro striking. He's always just not defensively sound at all. You can counter him all day, but on the other hand, he can knock you out as well. So I think it's Magomed by decision. I don't think he's going to be able to get him out of there, and I think he's going to have to use his wrestling because he might get touched up in that fight.
So when I was looking at this fight earlier, the thing that I noticed looking at the resume is that it started off with Ribeiro. Most of his wins were submissions. So I'm almost wondering if he's a submission guy or if he's a submission guy that developed or realized that he had knockout power and fell in love with the hands. Because, like Mike said, he is defensively unsound. The head doesn't move. He's there to get hit. He just kind of wings them, man. He just kind of bites down. He's the brawler versus the more technical fighter in is it Magomed? But man, I feel like Ribeiro could pull this off, man. He's gonna walk the guy down. He's not gonna let him stay on the outside and pick him apart, which is what Magomed's gonna want to do. Man, I feel like he walks him down, and he could end up knocking him out or eventually getting the submission. Man, I might play the inside the distance props on Ribeiro. Man, I think this fight should be lined a little bit closer than it actually is. I think if I remember right, the inside the distance line on Ribeiro was like plus 500. So I'm probably going to touch that a little bit. But yeah, like you got a second guy, a guy on his second fight in the UFC, being minus 300. It's still like you don't know what you have with these guys, man. I'm just gonna fade the public on this one. There's a lot of these lines on this card that are just way too wide for probably the guys that are the rightful favorites, but the line is just way too much on it. So yeah, give me a little shot on Brendson and Ribeiro here. Gadzhiyasulov probably wins this fight, but it's worth taking a shot.
Sorry, I was getting Aussie approved there. All right, I'll be honest, man. I ain't got a lot on this fight. I don't see any other hands up. Aussie, it says I approved you. Oh, you're a speaker now.
Yeah, sorry, man. I was just going to say quickly on this one.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, man. Outside of Ribeiro KO1, I don't really see he's got much of a chance. There is some dogs on this card I like, but he's not really one of them. But if I get a good number on that KO1, I haven't checked any props yet. But, you know, if we're talking 7-1 or something like that, I might take a short stab.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. And, you know, some people may not like those strategies, but I'll be honest. This is what we do around here. We cap these fights every day, every week. We do every card, every fight. And I've got to say, man, the guys that are killing it the most are the guys that are betting a lot of props. A lot of them. If you can get plus 700 and plus 600, you know, round 2 and then plus 700 round 3 or something, and you guys take them and you hit one, you're still killing it. So I'm not mad at that bet at all. Anybody else on this fight before I jump on? Well, with that big hold up, next fight is let me get over to the screen here. It is fuck man. Come on, Trace. Trace.
Someone help him out. Come on.
Yeah, come on, man. Muin Gastov. I've got Gastov, and we're just gonna go with Kang, man. I can't.
Oh, were you saying were you trying to figure out the names?
How do you say Kang's whole name, bro?
Kyung Ho Kong.
Oh,
And Muin Gafurov.
yeah, I got Gafurov. He's easy for me, but I still don't. I still can't get the other one, man.
Kyung Ho Kang. What am I saying? Kong.
Because I think I may have said it and had you fucked up. Anyways, I know you guys broke it down. Gastarov's minus 152 over 30 books, plus 122 for Kang. So, Trace, what do you got on this fight, bud?
Yeah, man, I'm on Kyung Ho Kang here. I think he probably wrestles to a decision if he doesn't get the submission at some point. Yeah, I don't understand the line. You got a guy that's 0-1 in the UFC, or excuse me, not what is he 0-1 in the UFC?
Oh, and two.
Yeah, 0-2 in the UFC. Granted, one of those losses is to high level talent being Said or perceived high level talent in Said
Don't forget
Nurmagomedov.
he lost on the contender series before that too, bro. He
Oh,
lost on
and
the contender series.
lost to Chad and Hilliger. So yeah, I mean, I get it. Kang's a little older, and in that division, being the first thing that's going to go is speed, being the smaller guys, and that's important. But I think he's able to out wrestle, not grapple this guy. So yeah, give me a Kyung Ho Kang by decision. And like I said, I'll probably touch the submission decision as well.
Nice, Mike. You on this fight?
Yeah, I don't understand the line either. Chung Ho Kang is better everywhere, striking and grappling. And Muin Gafurov, all he does is swing haymakers. Now he don't get me wrong. You can tell there's power in those shots, and he has a puncher's chance. But Kang, God damn it, he can jab him up all day and just control him with the jab as long as he keeps his defensive movement going, or he can just, like Trey said, just take him to the ground and submit him. I think Kang is going to win this fight however he wants.
Kang is
thereabouts.
like people aren't talking about how long Kang is. I mean, the dude's got he's gonna have a 5 inch reach advantage in this fight. He's very long for that division. So yeah, I think he's gonna have a lot more problems on the feet than Gafurov is going to expect. I think Kang's jab, like you said, his jab is sneaky quick, and yeah, I think he lights him up on the feet. I think this is a good buy low spot on Kyung Ho Kang.
Very nice. Very nice. Um, no hands. I'm good with it. I figured that for most of this early card. All right. Up next, Rinat Fakhretdinov and Nicolas Dalby. 32 books, 23 days, minus 345 on Rinat, and plus 254 on Dalby. I'm going to go ahead and kick this one off. So I understand all the path that everybody is going to lay out for Rinat. It everybody's going to say the exact same thing. Everybody's going to come to the same conclusion. He's going to pressure Dalby. He's going to be able to control him. He's going to be stronger than him. Um, I I am personally of the opinion that Renat hasn't fought anybody like Nicolas Dalby. Renat has not fought anybody on
Preach.
the level. He has not fought anybody on Dalby's level. And if you do MMA math, right, um, bro, Nicolas Dalby has just been silently stacking up wins for a little while now, and he's beaten Bonfim, Salikov, Elvies. I know Elvies, but you got to get things working again. He lost a good decision to Tim Means. Like, I just feel like Renat is not justified at minus 345. I understand him being the favorite, and I could see him at like minus 180. But I don't even think he should be justified at a minus 200. Maybe he'll go out there and make me look like a fool. The first real take I got on the night, and I read it all wrong. Um, but I doubt it. I'm probably gonna throw a few pennies on Nicolas Dalby standalone, no parlay work. I just think at the money he's at, it's a good play. And if it doesn't hit, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not betting it to the moon, but few pennies on Nicolas Dalby seems real sexy to me. I know who the sharps are here, but them other boys threw them up fast. So I'm gonna let them get it, and then we'll close it with the sharps. Usman, get after it.
So it seems like. Wait, first of all, I'd just like to point out that you don't think I'm a sharp.
That's
Second of
not what I
all,
meant, fucker. I
no.
meant Trace and Mike are here specifically. They cover every fight. That's what I meant, fucker. But
I'm,
I
I'm
did play it
just.
back in my head after I said it, and I was like, that probably didn't sound the way I meant for it to sound.
Hey, I'm here. I'm here to joke around. You know me. But I think you thought that you were gonna be alone on this pick, or everybody was going to
On a
be
fucking
raining.
on a boat off the island that I'm not even allowed on the island no more. I
So
thought I
so
was gonna.
just check it out. Anybody that has, or anybody in the space at all, throw your hands up if you're actually on Henat Fakhretdinov. All I saw was a
Damn,
all I saw was a Zaza finger
thumbs
down and
down.
Aussie finger down. Yeah, no, I love Dalby here. I know I came in here last week talking about it's very unlikely that Alex Perez turns it around twice and turns away two prospects or people that the UFC wants to push. When it comes, like we've seen Fakhretdinov do what he does for 3 rounds and look horrible. We've seen him look dead gassed. And yes, it's kind of alarming, or it's not a good look that what's it called? Dalby's losses are all decisions and to not the best competition. But we just saw him do this in his last fight. He's taken a good enough break. He was able to show the dog that he always has turned down a prospect with a heavy pace, whether it be grappling or striking. And Dalby is just very well rounded. You might say pennies, I might say sprinkles. What we both say is that Dalby at these ridiculous odds is a sexy bet, and I like that.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. And I'm sorry. And I know, here's the shitty thing, right? Like, Brian Battles looked real good of late, but I mean, Rinat's dubs are Nicolaitis, Brian Battle, and Kevin Lee. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think his resume is that deep. Aussie.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm with you, man. What are these odds, man? I taped this fight yesterday. Dalby has made a big change a couple of years ago, man. That Wim Hof breathing bullshit he's doing, it works for him, man. It really does. I'm on Dalby. I'm going to be on him round 3. I think round 3 is a great look. I think if Dalby gets it done, it's probably in the 3rd. Rinat, he uses a lot of energy in everything he does, man. If he's going for takedowns, he doesn't just go for takedowns, get you off balance and get you to the ground. Every takedown he does, he's lifting you off the mat. He's slamming. Even on a double leg, he's not just following through, he's picking you up. When he throws punches, it's like the old cartoons with Goofy throws a punch and ties himself into a fucking knot. This guy spins around when he misses, man. I think his striking is terrible. He's got some power. He's dropped some people. But in that 3rd round, man, I hope he dominates for the first 2 rounds, because I'm going to have Dalby round 3. I'm going to have fight ends in split. I'm going to have Dalby split. I think they're all going to be very good numbers. And Renat's got no defense for kicks. He doesn't he doesn't check kicks, low kicks. I know Dalby doesn't throw a ton of them, but I think he's going to throw a ton of them in this fight. He should be throwing no body kicks. Everything's going to be very low. I really like Dalby here, man. I don't know what this price is, but I'm snagging it up. Also, like I said, round 3, split decision, fight ends in split, Dalby by split. I love all those lines when they come out.
Man,
That's it from
I'm
me.
actually very curious, and not that. I understand. I'm very curious to see what the over is. I guess I could go look right on the site right now, and I just haven't. I'm also curious to see what Fight Goes the Distance comes out at. They haven't dropped it yet, where I can bet. I know.
Well, that's perfect for me to jump back in. Fight goes to split is going to be plus 400. Hits our criteria for hitting the over. Goes the distance is minus 175. We know that we're hitting the over on a minus money. Goes the distance line at 71%. So hit the over. And over 2.5 is at minus 215. So they know exactly what's going to happen. I think Aussie's killing it with Dalby by split.
So sorry to jump back in real quick, but one other thing I was going to play was a draw. You can get that at Bet365 at 80 to 1 when it comes out. And I could see a 10-8 Dalby round 3 if he doesn't get the finish.
Nice. I'm gonna throw it to Trace. Get after it, bud.
Yeah, so the line might be a little wide, but I do think it's justified. I am on Rinat, obviously. I think it's going to look a lot like the Brown Battle fight, where he probably has 7 takedowns on 15 attempts. Not a whole lot of control time, just mostly just getting the takedowns and then accumulating a small amount of control time before getting back up to the feet again. I get it. Dalby is a beloved fighter. He got that Viking mentality. He's one of the guys people like to root for. But he's 40 years old. He's older. Like, we got to quit trying to sell each other these fairy tales, man. Like, the chances are he goes out there and he probably gets mauled. I understand the round 3 props, and I probably will play that myself for Rinat, but or not for Rinat, for Nicolas Dalby, because I do think that's probably a sick little play. But yeah, I think it's probably 29-28. Fakhretdinov wins the first 2 rounds, and Dalby probably tries to mount a comeback in the 3rd round, but it's just going to be a little too late. But for what it's worth, I would love to be wrong. Fakhretdinov's kind of hard to play at this line. I think it's a little much, but yeah, I don't hate the guys taking the shots on Nicolas Dalby. For what it's worth, I hope he wins. But I think the over is probably the way to play this fight. I think this fight more than likely goes to a decision.
Yeah, I'm 100% playing that over. That's not even a question. Zabet, you were up then down. You want to get it, bud?
I was gonna just agree with everyone. I agree. Nicholas Dalby in the 2nd or 3rd round. I like the over. And what's good, everybody? Hope everyone's doing good.
What's happening, Za? I seen your Celtics one, bruh.
Hey, good looking out. You know that.
Yeah, I knew you were happy about that. I seen that shit. I'm like, Zabets is probably out there drunk somewhere with a green fucking wig and a green beer somewhere. I don't really know if you get down like that. I just figured everybody in the city was getting down like that shit on that day.
Friday.
I know. Listen, I'm in Detroit, bro. When people win shit around here, city is lit for a minute. I can't assume it's any different out there. YB, get after it.
Yo, so I was gonna say, for me, I mainly agree with what Trey said. For me, it's Rinat by split decision. I think he's gonna win the first two rounds really well, and then Dalby is gonna Dalby, and it's gonna look like he's gonna win somehow. But he's 60 years old. Nobody gives a shit about him. So give me Rinat by split decision because, yeah, that's basically it. He sucks.
All right, Mike, close this one up for us, brother. I know you got a good draw up on this one.
Yeah,
Stole the words out my mouth.
yeah. I'm not okay. So I don't really play the age card unless you can really see the miles on them, whether it's on their face or through their performance. And Dalby is good. Like he's got everything. He seems to be like really putting everything together now. But it's Rinat Fakhretdinov. Like this dude's wrestling is for real. I do believe the first round is going to be total control. I don't think as busy as Dalby is with the wrestling, his defensive. I don't think it's going to be enough to get Rinat off of him. The second round, he might have a little bit um, more success, but I still think Rinat's going to dominate those two rounds. His best chance is the third round, and as busy as Dalby is with his striking, he can definitely finish him. I don't think if it goes to a decision, he's going to win. He is going to have to finish him, and I believe third round KO is a good prop because I'm not betting Renat.
Man. Um, all right. I don't think there's no need to dispute any of that. You boys good with the next one?
Yeah, let's roll with it.
Mike, you said you got your write-ups done on this?
You talking about for Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
I just finished up everything yesterday, like last night.
Gotcha.
I actually got all three. I got Bellator, PFL, and UFC. Last week was an exhausting week.
Yeah, I bet, bro. Get into boxing too, and then you'll have to give up your whole life. That'll be it. MMA and boxing. All right. Everybody that don't know, man, Mike does write-ups for pretty much every fight, every card. He kills it. He's got a website, allinforbettertimes.com. I'm working my ass off to get Mike over at Cap MMA to move his columns that he does over there to our site, and we'll have it all linked up over there. I'm trying to give him the articles area. I put him on blast right here in the space. No fucks given. Where I'm from. It's easier to just put people on blast. So we'll just keep calling him out every week until he gets his shit up over there.
I'm
Any
looking at it
fucking
right
way.
now. Like I'm trying to just get comfortable with it.
Yeah, I got you, and I'm just riding you a little bit, bro. I'm having fun with it because I'm start riding Usman. That betting strat he's got for the split kills it. But I'm gonna have him start getting that posted up too, so that's easy to find and easy to see. That's just my gig over here, you know. All right, up next is shit. I actually forgot. I was looking at like 3 fights ahead already. Oh, this is Shara Bullet, right? Nah, god damn it. Nasrat Haqparast versus Jared Gordon. Man, god damn Jared Gordon and fucking Jared Gordon, man. I don't even like watching him fight. That don't matter. All my personal shit aside. All right, Jared Gordon is. I didn't even have his ass up on the odds board. Why do I not see him on the odds board?
He's like plus 190, I think.
I don't even see him here anywhere. Oh, there he is. 23 days, 33 books, plus 193, minus 190 or 250 for Nasrat. I'm personally on Nasrat. I don't think this is a hard fight to cap. That's just my take on it. Trace, where you at on this one?
Man, I think this fight should be lined a lot closer. Like, I get it. Jared Gordon isn't like the most fun fighter to watch. He has the sob story that he runs about the whole I was a drug addict and now I'm good now. But at the end of the day, like, he's actually pretty decent, man. Like his run in the UFC's been pretty good. Like he's only had like 2 or 3 losses compared to like 10 wins or something like that. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but like the wins are actually pretty good. Or the resume, the UFC record is pretty good itself. Uh, Nasrat fights close in almost all of his fights. He doesn't ever really pull away. He doesn't really have knockout power to put people away, despite having a finish in his last one. But before that, he's not somebody that's been getting a lot of finishes in the UFC. He's more of a volume guy. So if you're playing this fight, you probably want to take Nasrat by decision. I don't think there's a finish here. Gordon's been primarily durable in his UFC career and throughout his MMA career in general. If he's able to get the wrestling going, man, he's live. Like if he's able to get Nasrat off the feet, he's gonna have a perceived advantage there. The speed is definitely gonna be on Nasrat's favor, but yeah, I think this is gonna be a 3 round, probably a nice little fight, man. Probably a nice little war. So I'm gonna take the over for this fight. If I have to play a side, I'm probably playing Jared Gordon.
Damn. Ozzy, what you got, bro?
Around the same but I can't blame anyone for taking a shot here. I think it's going to be 15 minutes on the feet, and what are they going to be scoring? Are they going to be scoring the bigger, harder punches from Nasrat, or maybe Gordon can get some volume going? I don't know, but I'll be. This is another one that I assume is going the distance, and I think it's going to be 15 on the feet. So give me the split. You only need one judge to fuck this up. Gordon's kind of got those small arms though, those Tyrannosaurus Rex arms.
Easy,
Yeah, so
brother.
he might be swinging and missing, So yeah, I don't know. I'll take the split on this one. I think he goes the distance at a pretty high clip.
They might be T-Rex arms, but they're powerful. I got a pair of them myself. I know.
Usman.
Yeah, so quickly hits every criteria for the split strap. That means hit the over. Um, Personally, I think how many times is this boy's name gonna come out of my mouth? Gerald Mearshart, however the hell you say it. Yeah, this is Jared Gordon. Just look at his damn career. Look at his resume in the UFC. He's the Mearshart of lightweight, and there's probably a couple more. But Charles Oliveira lost. Patty Pimblett lost. Those are just the two off the top of my head. But Grant Dawson, Davy Grant White, whatever the hell that guy's name is. They use him to push somebody. Nasrat's on a 3-fight win streak. They put him in home territory. You can't see my finger quotes. They know exactly what's going on, or they know exactly what they want to happen here, and they don't want Jared Gordon to play spoiler. Give me Nasrat and give me him by decision and the over.
Nice. Mike, you want to take this one home?
Yeah, I actually agree with Trace. This fight should be a lot closer. Understand people don't really give Gordon the respect he deserves, but they need to. They need to remember that he made Grant Dawson fight in a dog fight. He's not to be overlooked. His striking is good. His wrestling is good too. I love watching him wrestle. He is constant movement. You will never be able to control him. Yeah, you just won't be able to control him. But his style, his little pressure style, that's going to play right into Nasrat's striking style. He's going to be able to get hit with that left hand over and over again. And Nasrat is actually, he's more than the left hand. He knows how to mix it up with the body. He knows how to really time all his strikes and flow together. And with Jared Gordon just constant pressuring him, unless he changes up his game plan, he has done that before. We all remember the fight with Bobby Green. He didn't play that with Bobby Green. But his consistent performances tells me that he's going to play right into Nasrat's fighting style, and Nasrat's going to win by decision. But like I said, it's a winnable fight for both of them. The best bet is over 2.5 in my eyes.
Man, you like the over?
Hell yeah, preach, brother. Over.
I'm not mad.
Yeah, over
Yeah, they're
over for
both
sure.
durable.
And he beat Paddy
They're
Pimblett
both
too.
very durable. Gordon has taken damage, and Nasrat has too. And he's shown that he's a dog, and he'll bite down on his mouthpiece and just fight. So they're both game, and they're both ready to throw down and fight. I don't think they have what it takes to finish each other.
Remember, only one of these guys beat Paddy Pimblett and got robbed.
Yeah, so here's what I'll say. I don't think Jared Gordon is not a good fighter. I just, man, I get tired of people that, I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about nobody. Guy's got a hard story. He's doing the best he can in life. At some point, you're not what you used to be anymore. Start telling me what you are now. Like, I don't know. I get tired of hearing that shit. Whatever. I grew up around a lot of that shit, so that's just how I feel about it. Whatever. Next up is Shara Bullet versus Joilton Lutterbach. Shara Bullet is going off at, you would think I would get this shit a little more in order. Shara Bullet is minus 256. That is 27 books, 18 days. Lutterbach is plus 196. This was a fairly short notice fight. There are some news stories popping up about these guys. I'm going to kick this one off. So I've been real high on Shara Bullet. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's got a really high ceiling. And he will be the bigger guy here for sure. And that's probably, being the bigger guy is probably the advantage that he'll need to get the W. But man, so I already know Shara. I didn't feel like I needed to look him up. I've taped him. I've watched all his shit. I've looked up his everything I could find on him before the UFC. Like, I've been through the guy, and I feel good about my read on him, and I don't feel like I need to look back on it. So I decided I was going to just disprove Lutterbach real quick and make him look, like, fuck him, and I'm right on Shara. I'll be honest. All right, if you go strictly on the people he beat, of course, like anybody else, he beat a bunch of cans in the beginning, and then he lost to like Rosh Mafio and Clay Collard, who aren't the best guys in the world, but those are legit ass fighters over in PFL. And he looked really good in his last couple. I looked him up. I didn't do hard tape. I kind of clicked through his last one. It was a decision. And then I watched his two knockouts. All I'm going to say is I don't think Shara has fought anybody of this skill level. And I'm not really comfortable betting him. I'm probably going to skip this fight. I don't feel good betting Lutterbach. Like, I'm not confident in him like that, but I'm looking for prop angles on this fight is where I'm going. Like, I'm not taking a money line in this fight. So I'm going to be looking for prop angles here. And I'll be honest, I think that Shara could get taken the distance here. So I'm not even confident or feel good about it. Like, fight ends inside the distance or any shit like that. I actually may be looking at a fight goes to decision. Something like that, looking at the over. That's my read on it. I've been very high on Shara in these spaces since he made his UFC debut, and a little before I was actually talking about him. So, yeah, that's my take. Aussie, get after it.
Yeah, this is another one where I kind of like the underdog here. I think he's better everywhere except for the kicking game. We've seen him messing around a lot with, he's been concentrating on his striking. He's got a lot of submissions on his record, but it's been in the, the karate combat and glory. He's really been trying to, get that side of his game going. But like you said, it's the size. I'm going to wait till the weigh-ins for this one. I'm not going to jump in and put my money down early. I want to see how he sizes up. I hope he can get takedowns in this fight. I will be looking for the sub prop. I don't think he's going to want to stand with this guy. If he does, he's got to be all the way in. He can't be at kicking distance with this guy. This Pirate's going to fuck everybody up from kicking distance. So um, he's got to be all the way in, all the way out, and you got to kind of favour the grappler on that side. I think he goes for takedowns. It's just about whether he gets them against this bigger, stronger guy. So I'll definitely look for the weigh-ins, see how he kind of shapes up. But I do expect him to be a little bit smaller. And yeah, when the sub props come out, I'll definitely be having a look at that.
So I will say this. That will be a very important read, and that was a good thing for you to point out. So Shara is supposed to be like 2 inches taller, and in tape, like what I seen on Joilton, and I feel confident, and like I've said about Shara. But he might not look that much bigger. We've seen it. We've seen a guy that's a couple inches taller, and you feel like he looks bigger when you watch him fight. But then in the face-offs, you're like, oh, shit, he's not as big as I thought next to this guy. So I think that size is going to be very important in this fight. So look for it, before you abandon bets or place last-minute bets is how I feel. Trace.
Yeah, I agree with Ozzy on this one. I think Lutterbach is going to have the better boxing insight. My kid's probably going to go crazy, just so y'all know, just so bear with me. But I think he has the better boxing insight. I think he's going to definitely have the ground advantage and the submission advantage, like Ozzy was alluding to. I do think that this fight probably does end up going to decision, but I think if the finish happens, it's probably on Lutterbach's side with the submission. It's going to be a typical kicker versus the grappler / boxer. He needs to get inside. If he's able to get inside, he probably wins this fight. If he is forced to stay out at a distance and kicking distance, he's probably going to lose this fight. Yeah, for what it's worth, I think he's got a good shot here. Shara Bullet hasn't really fought anybody of name or of note that most of the guys on his resume are cans. So definitely Lutterbach is coming in with a better resume for sure. I did the math, and I know he's like 38-11 or something like that, but he's actually like 47-13 with all of his fights included. So like he's got insane fucking experience for his age. So yeah, give me the guy with the more experience, and give me the dog money.
Yeah, Shara didn't look that great against Bruno Silva either. Meaning like how everybody, including myself, thought he would look. Just to throw that out there, he did not impress the way we thought he would in his debut. Whatever is what it is. Usman.
So considering Shara being who he is, I was expecting to see an over set at 1.5. But we got the over set at 2.5 here. Hits all criteria on the split strat to hit the over. So I got to do what the strat tells me and hit the over. When it comes to picking a side, if you go to Cap MMA, we got some headlines for these fighters. I'm sure one of them is going to be about Shara talking about how he's got Hollywood offers and he's working on getting his visa to come and be a bad guy in an action movie, which is cool. Which also tells us he's a fade, but he hasn't gone to Hollywood yet. So let's push that fade back and let's take Shara by decision.
Man, I'm not mad at it. Like, I definitely think this one gets pressed, and I was, like I said in the beginning, I was definitely looking at the over. YB, get after it, and then I'm gonna have Mike close it out.
I don't know what the over under is set at, but give me over 1.5 if I can get such a lucky number, and give me One Eyed Freak by decision. I don't think he's met his match yet. He's going to take some time before he gets anywhere close to a loss, in my opinion. I don't care about Lutterbacher. I don't even care about his name. I don't know who he is. Nobody does. Just give me Shara by decision. It's probably boring. He could get a knockout, in my opinion. He is good at kickboxing, but it's just not that time yet, dude. It's just not that time. And it's been what, actually like a whole year since he fought Bruno, right? And obviously he didn't knock out Bruno, but you have to fluke knock out Bruno or you're not gonna look impressive for whatever reason. Like he took Pereira of all people to a fucking decision. He's just a weird guy to fight. So I can't put too much stock in that. Give me One Eyed Freak for the win.
So I will say this though, bro. Shara was a big deal on the not the regional, it's pro, but like what we call the regionals around here, bro. He was such a big deal, like you couldn't avoid him. I knew who he was, like he had been in the UFC before that fight. I at one point I remember being like, "Fuck, he's not in the UFC." Like that's how familiar I was with that guy. He was getting pushed anywhere. If you follow all the like you can follow groups list rather. If you follow list and you get into any of that shit, man, you start seeing all these posts, bro. He was a big deal, and yeah, I didn't feel like he lived up to the hype. Is all I was trying to say. Mike, why don't you close this one out, bud?
Man, y'all got me watching Lutterbach's fights again right now because I'm like, what are y'all seeing? Look, I am super high on Shara. I understand he didn't meet everyone's expectations against Bruno, but Bruno's a good fighter too. But yeah, man, Shara's the real deal. His kicking game, the way he leads with his kicks, it you got to be you got to be real high level or something special to just have a kicking game as your base and making it hard for people to just get past that alone. And if you do, he's got weapons waiting for you whenever you get past the kicks, especially those elbows. He times them really well if you get past the kicks. I don't think Lutterbach is gonna win this fight at all. I think Shaw is gonna beat him. Maybe he wins by decision, but I think he's gonna knock him out.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I've been high on Shara. I feel like maybe I was let down when he debuted in the UFC from what I expected, and sometimes that's not fair, you know. Um, to be fair, and I would say this: don't ever double guess it. Aren't you and Trey supposed to be getting some board bets going? Head to head shit. Is this one of them? Is this it?
No, that's something that we're both like very confident on, and we're both on opposite sides. No, I'm not. Like I said, I'm just saying the line shouldn't be as wide as it is. I feel like it should be closer to a pick 'em. Shara seems like he's just one takedown away from getting his ass whipped. Honestly, like if uh if Bruno Silva was a little bit better at submissions, he probably could have won that fight. But he's 0 wins by submission, 7 losses himself. So I don't expect him to try to go for a submission against the more superior striker, but Joilton might do that. So yeah, I just think it's just a little too wide, and it's just outside of playing inside the distance for Shara or the decision prop, which I think is you're probably better off playing the decision prop. Uh, yeah, I just don't think he's gonna hold up to that money line, but he's still fresh in the UFC. I'm like y'all know how I am about this shit. I'm reluctant to buy the shiny new toy of the UFC. You got to prove something more than just on the contender series, more than just on name value. You got to come in here and carry that weight with you. And I'm waiting for him to do that. So I feel like this is a good challenge for him. This is going to be somebody's going to come out a star out of this fight. I feel like this is going to be a nice little war.
Yeah, I meant to allude to that this could be one of those ones where the UFC wants Shar to be a star, and he hasn't really lived up to that. He's kind of been difficult to deal with and been in the medias and everything, man. This could be one of them ones where they're kind of making him earn his shine a little bit. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah,
Like,
and just to elaborate on it a little bit better, Mike, 'cause I know you said you're kind of trying to figure out what we're seeing, but I just think that when I say it's going to be a war, I think Lutterbach's going to force the war. If it's up to Magomedov, obviously, or Shara, he would fight at distance and kick the shit out of him and win by KO that way. But I think we're going to see what his boxing looks like in tight against another boxer. Honestly, I think it's going to be an interesting fight to see if his hands are as good as his feet.
Yo, I'm watching him right now. I don't believe in his hands at all. I believe Shara's gonna knock this man out.
well, I mean, stay on it though. Like, that's important. Let's be clear about that. Like, we don't want. I don't try to sway people. That's always been a policy around here. I don't try to sway. So, can we move on to the next one? Volkan Oezdemir versus Johnny Walker.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Oezdemir.
Kick it to Mike on this one first. Let Mike get first take.
All right. So this one's lined pretty much as a pick 'em. over 31 books, 23 days. Johnny Walker's got some news stories popping up there. He's minus 118, minus 108 on Volkan Oezdemir. So he's actually the slight dog. The over-under, those are on our site, guys. Sorry I haven't been throwing them out there tonight. The over-under is set at 1.5, minus 150 for the over, plus 120 for the under. Mike.
Yeah, I got Oezdemir. Yeah, I don't look. I've never been high on Johnny Walker, especially this new Johnny Walker that wants to like be more measured. I think he was way better off when he bursted on the scene and he just liked to just be wild, because that's when he was really creative and he threw people off. No one knew what was coming. That's not him now. Vocal News Demir, that man's power is not to be played with. I think he's gonna knock him out. Probably knock him out early, but the over 1.5. I don't know. I can't pick one. I would just pick Volkan Oezdemir money line or TKO prop.
Yeah, I would just take the fight. The fight doesn't go on this one. Like I said, I don't know about the over, like how fast it's going to happen. Vulcan, even though his nickname is No Time, he does kind of take his time now. He doesn't rush to finish. It kind of just if it presents itself. But yeah, I agree, man. Like there was no better glass cannon than oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Than Johnny Walker whenever he first came in the UFC. Like he was knockout or be knocked out, man, and fun. And that was what was dangerous about him is the unpredictability, the Jerry almost like he was almost like a obviously a little bit more refined version of Jerry as far as like not being as crazy as wild. I don't know if refined is the right word, but yeah, I think you took that away from him, and he's just considerably less dangerous. I mean, you got to fight to your style, and what got you there was the berserker come forward, uh, swing till you fall. And I think he needs that in this fight. I think he needs if he's going to win, he's got to clip first. Because if Vulcan's able to get the combos going, we know who's going to have the cardio and who's going to be there longer. So I think Vulcan's. I would probably play the late props. Honestly, I think he's probably going to be it. I said the under, but it might be a late finish.
Um, that's fair. That's fair. So I'm pretty pissed. Like, so we don't have the scorecard for a fight that I'm looking for on our site, and it's just because the scorecards have only been recorded for about 60 pay-per-view cards. We've got like 3,000 scorecards. So I got a quick question to Trace, Mike, and anybody else that wants to answer it with a yes, no. Did you see the Oezdemir versus Rakic fight? Rakic.
I don't remember
I mean,
it.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure I did. I couldn't recall it off the top of my head.
Usman put his thumbs up. Did you see that fight? You remember that fight?
Yeah, I remember it.
Split decision. Did you think Rakic won?
No,
What?
no, I didn't think Rakic won.
Control time, takedowns, outstruck him. Rakic.
Maybe I'm off, but I just thought what's his name, the Ooze had better power strikes, and I don't know. I've always been an Ooze fan, so maybe there's a little bias there.
Yeah, Rakic beat him up pretty good, bro. Like doubled his fucking headshots,
I
outstruck him. My
I will
opinion.
say that the body language from Ooze didn't look good. It did look like he got beat up.
Yeah. So I personally thought Oezdemir did not win that fight. Um, so Oezdemir is a fade here. Johnny Walker is not a guy that I'm like, oh, bet him. You guys know I'm like, yeah, about Johnny Walker. I like his personality. He's a really nice guy. I want to see him win. But I'm not a guy who's like, oh, yeah, you got to find a spot for him. Oezdemir has a tell. You can check it through his whole career. If you are taller than 6'3", he's not big enough. He really cannot implement his game. You become too long for him. Check the stats. Check his whole fucking record. And Johnny Walker is fucking huge for him. Johnny Walker is 6'6", 82 inches of reach. Volkan is 6'2", 75 inches of reach. He has a very specific game plan. He's not taking you down. That's not his plan. He's going to try to strike with you. And he has shit reach. He has to be able to get in. And guys who know how to play the distance and guys that know how to keep him at range can beat him up. And guys who get to a certain size, they all play range. There's no 6'6" guys that play it close. At least not at the highest level. It can't be done, right? So Johnny Walker is going to be forced to play the distance, and Volkan Oezdemir cannot beat somebody his size. He can't do it. If you think he beat Rakic, that's the guy. Okay, he beat somebody that's bigger than him. But if they're bigger than like a half inch bigger than him, height wise, his arms are too fucking short. He can't really get off on him. And if they have reach to keep him at bay, he is gonna drown. Johnny Walker by finish. I don't know who went up first, YB or Young Boy. But I'm gonna throw it to. I said YB or Young Boy. God damn it, Mike or YB. But I'm gonna throw it to Mike, then YB.
The only counter I have to that is that Johnny doesn't. He really just plays the power game. He's not really. He doesn't really know how to fight at a distance. His chin is always up in the air, and like you can counter hook him all day. And I believe even though if that was a split decision, that means that was a good. It was. He put up a fight against Rakic. He also put up a fight against Yuri, and he hurt Yuri multiple times in that fight. I don't think Johnny's gonna get hurt if he gets touched. He's gonna go down if he gets touched by Volkan. That's my only counter.
I mean, yeah, and I'm not. If he could touch him, then fine. But I just Johnny Walker will turn his body sideways, and Volkan won't be able to hit him. He will literally just fight sideways, which we've seen him do, which he's plenty good at. It does get him knocked out against bigger guys, but he'll turn his body sideways. Oezdemir literally will not be able to fucking reach his face, which is the problem he has with guys that size. Whenever they give him angles, and Johnny Walker actually likes to play side, likes to fight that. He loves to stand there. It's cost him fights, to be honest, against bigger guys, but he loves to stand there sideways and bounce on his fucking feet. And even though that looks dumb when you're fighting somebody your size, when you're that much bigger than Oezdemir, he's just gonna swing and miss and swing and miss. He's yeah. That's just my opinion, man. But I'm not arguing with you, Mike. If he can get in there, Johnny Walker's got an off button, bro. If he can put a combination on his chin, he probably can put him to sleep. I'm just betting that he can. Yeah, just my guess. YB.
Johnny Walker by homicide. Volkan isn't somebody. And I know I always come in here, oh, the company doesn't care about this guy, this guy. I mean, it's just so obvious to me. Volkan had a bunch of losses in a row, and then they finally found him somebody they could beat, just so they could turn around and give him to somebody they wanted to prop up a little bit. It seems really simple in my opinion. Johnny Walker is good. He's just the wacky waving arm inflatable tube man or whatever, and he just has that issue. But other than that, I can't see a way you pick Volkan in this. I think over 1.5, maybe 2.5. Uh, if it goes that long, for me, it's a 1.5 money line Johnny Walker or a KO if you want to do it that way. But I just think Johnny will get his confidence back in this one and get a nice little win for himself. Start pushing back towards the belt, which he'll never get, but that's how I see it. Volkan sucks.
Yeah, I'm pretty much aligned with you, but I will say this: I do think Mike is sharp, so I am gonna probably put something on Johnny Walker. Maybe I'll put him and Dalby together and see if that shit can pop off for me. Usman, go ahead.
Yeah, kind of what Mike was saying was like for that Johnny Walker fight or for him to win, you kind of have to be betting on Johnny Walker to have some stronger IQ, and I just don't think that that's what he's known for. And then you talked about Volkan not coming out and getting takedowns, but if you look at it, he has been shooting at least one takedown, getting him or not, since that Rakic fight. And then even in the split decision loss to Reyes, he shot takedowns. You look at the Krylov fight, both of these guys have losses to Krylov. Krylov needed three takedowns to to beat Walker. I just think Ooze is just going to be that smarter fighter and have his moments on the feet and at least be smart enough to try and attempt takedowns and push him up against the fence whenever things get a little bit hairy with the big boy of Johnny Walker.
To be fair, I think whichever side is the dog, you would kind of have to take a shot on because this fight really should be. It really is the pick 'em. I think this is perfectly lined. I see a path to victory for both guys. Honestly, it's just this is my hardest fight on the card. Honestly, I went back and forth on it.
Yeah, I mean, and the lines show that too. So, you know, when you struggle with one and then the lines kind of solidify it, that tells you that the books were struggling with it. And, you know, say what you will, but the books have the sharpest motherfuckers around working for them, it seems like, in the big picture. So, you know, you're just aligning with what the sharpest of the
Yeah,
sharp.
I say it every time that he fights. I think Johnny Walker is doing himself a disservice by not fighting at heavyweight. I think that dude would be a fucking problem at heavyweight.
Bro, have you ever seen him walking at like 1 fucking 28, 228, 237? He's fucking massive. He huge disservice to himself. And I'll be honest, man, heavyweight sucks. And if a lot of these 6'6" guys would just fucking fight at heavyweight, it would be a lot better place.
It would
But
also like
oh,
I
go
can't
ahead.
imagine that the heavyweights hit that much harder than some of the light heavyweights because some of them are light heavyweights themselves, like Johnny Walker himself. So I think him just dehydrating himself just diminishes his chin more. So I think that's why I think it's the biggest disservice to himself by not fighting at heavyweight because he'd be fully hydrated, he wouldn't be cutting weight, he'd be kind of like a Joilton Almeida. Like honestly, obviously not the same fighting style, but just that same kind of build. You know, like just a fucking Adonis, man. I think he would crush a lot of them fucking all of them heavyweights for sure.
I think a lot of them guys avoid the heavyweight because you get the really, really, really hard hitters up there, the guys that aren't in great shape, the guys that are just big and hit hard as fuck. Derek Lewis, Roy Nelson. I think they just avoid them guys, and I think that is the only difference is staying at light heavyweight. If you're a guy that cuts as much weight as Johnny Walker does, all you're really doing is avoiding those big punches to me. Usman.
Yeah, last thing I'll say about this one is this is these kind of fights when it comes to the strat are some of my favorite spots to hit. Most of the time, I don't believe I get burned pulling up the results right now. But over 1.5 is set at -160. It's a beautiful number right there, in my opinion, for a parlay or a straight piece. When you're looking at the strat specifically, our goes to distance is hitting at 71.73% for 2023. I mean 2024. If you hit the over on that,
Insanity, insane.
we're at plus 160, so it doesn't qualify for that. But we're at 71.42% on goes to split being plus 400 and hitting the over. We're at plus 400 that says hit the over, and they're giving us over 1.5. That's one of those fights to where it's gonna go down as a loss on the. Oh, actually not because it's plus 400. But most of the time it would go down as a loss on the strat. But everybody and their mom knew that this fight was more than likely gonna go over. So I'll be hitting that over and parlaying it for sure.
Very nice. I'm gonna move on just because we killed the shit out of that one. Up next is fuck Lima. What did I do here? I froze the fucking odds board up. How the hell did I do that, bro? I've never done that before. Anyways, the next fight up is Magomed Naima or Mohamed Naimov and Felipe Lima, featherweight fighters coming in. I meant to say on the last fight that we're officially on the main card here. I ain't got odds for this one. I got to reload the board here. Trace, kick this one off.
Who?
You.
No, who are the fighters?
This is
Mohammed Naimov and Felipe Lins.
Lima, Felipe Lima, and Mohamed Naimov.
Oh, I didn't even see this fight. I didn't tape this one, so I'm at the pass on it.
That explains the what?
Yeah, didn't it just get
uh,
announced?
It is a new. I know it is short notice. They found him an opponent on like 6 days, right?
Announced last night,
Yeah,
yes.
he's a bantamweight.
Yeah, yeah. He's he's kind of a can cutter. So I looked him up a little bit. Um, he's he's like 12-1, and it's like 12 in a row or something. One of them people who's sadly lost their first outing. Um, but it's not the greatest level of competition. And he's not super duper impressive. Naimov has looked great. I feel like this is a win-win spot for the UFC. Naimov has been building his name up a little bit, and worst case scenario, Felipe, who's got a good-looking record, comes in, catches a W off of him, and moves on. I'm not there. I'm being honest. Nobody really had time to tape it here, but I was just laughing at Trace's reaction. Felipe Lima is minus 105 and Naimov is minus 122. That's 16 books. In the days column, there's an N. That means that's new. That just hit in the last 24 hours, is what that means. But the over under is already set at 1.5, minus 200 for the over, plus 160 for the under 1.5. That's coming from Leo Vegas. I'm not sure who else has got the rounds out there right now, but that's coming from Leo Vegas. This fight's a skip for me, if I'm being honest. Usman, get after it.
I'm going to be a gentleman and I'm going to throw it to Aussie first.
Oh, thank you, man. Sorry, I'm at work, so I just had to pop out for a minute. Did we get to the Robert Whittaker fight? Is that what we're talking about here?
No, Naimov and Lima.
Okay, I'll pass on this one then. All right, have a great show,
Beautiful.
fellas. Have a great show.
All right, Ozzy. Appreciate you, bud.
Go Whittaker. Yeah, go Whittaker.
Appreciate you, bud. Everybody, Ozzy does the space Friday nights in the States. I think it's Saturday morning where he's at. But he does the space. Ozzy's a good follow, man. Always got good takes. A lot of us jump into his space on Friday night, give our last minute takes, anything we've changed. So give Ozzy a follow, man. We think a lot of them around here. Mike, listen, bro. We sound like scrubs on this fight, but I know you got it covered, right?
What are you talking about? The Naimov fight?
Yeah, you got the tape done, right?
No, I like watched one fight of him today, and I wasn't impressed at all. But I didn't really get to do a breakdown.
I know, man. I'm having fun. I hope you guys can hear me laughing in my voice over here.
Oh,
It's
and
short
I
notice.
didn't get to Cedricus Dumas either.
What do you want to know about him?
No, I'm
That
saying
fight's
I didn't
canceled.
cover it.
Oh,
It's canceled anyways.
What?
yeah.
Damn, that was quick.
He sucks and it's canceled.
Yeah, I think Dennis Tululin pulled out.
What the fuck? Oh,
Well,
oh
hey,
my
look,
god.
I'll take a spot at talking about Naimov. Minus 120 is a gift in my opinion. I've liked him from the beginning that he joined the UFC. I think we're getting this line because there was a lot of controversy and stuff about the Nathaniel Wood fight. At the end of the day, he won that unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1. And I think all of us can say that we rate Nathaniel Wood pretty good. When it comes to his opponent, haven't really looked much into it, but this is one of those perfect spots where he maybe overperforms. We get to hit the over 1.5. There's no props, so I can't give you anything on a split strat. But we hit the over 1.5, and in the next fight, everybody's like, "Man, he overperformed. He looks so great against Naimov," and we all know how good Naimov is. And then he probably middles out to exactly where he was supposed to be. Um, yeah, I think minus 120 for Naimov in this fight against a 135er who is coming in on short notice is an absolute gift, and Naimov will be all over parlays for me.
I know, but he also lost to Colin Anglin, is now after losing to Colin Anglin. Colin Anglin lost 5 in a row, including a stint in the UFC. So I mean that doesn't age very well. He lost to him on the Contender Series, so that's a little worrisome. But what is the size discrepancy? 5'9" to Felipe Lima is 5'6", so he is actually the bigger guy. Okay. Yeah, man. I feel like it's you probably just take the Hillman or wherever he goes by, and probably just move on from there.
All right. Well, we're gonna cap that fight out right there. That moves us on to the feature fight of the night. That's third back. That is Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. This fight, Kelvin Gastelum, 33 books, 23 days, plus 199 on D Rod, plus minus 256 on Kelvin. The over under is set at 2.5. You're getting minus 265 on the over, and you're getting plus 205 on the under. This is a free over. This is an absolutely free fucking over. Yeah, I'm an over under guy, and you haven't heard me shout a lot of them out tonight. And I don't claim to be sharp on a whole lot of things, but there's a lot of guys who have DM'd me many times asking for my over unders. I usually hit them pretty well. And I haven't been on a lot of them, but I feel really good about this one. It would have to be some real freak shit to kill the over here. I'm going to break Darce down at the end here. Anybody that's listening, Darce debuts tomorrow on our YouTube channel. And when you see the tweets pop up, give them a retweet for us, man. Follow us on YouTube. But I'll give the Darce breakdown at the end of this. Trace, go ahead.
Shout out Darce, 9-0, undefeated. Hasn't got shit wrong yet, unlike some of us. So, man, this feels like you said, an over fight. Over. But, man, I feel like you almost have to take a dog shot on, boy, I'm bad with names tonight.
D-Rod?
Yeah, with D-Rod. You can't trust Kelvin to wrestle, even though he should have a wrestling advantage. So it's probably going to take place on the feet in a boxing match. And honestly, I used to rate Kelvin's boxing pretty high, but as of late, he doesn't perform like he used to. I know he says he's on a mission for gold. It's in his tag name. But like that dude, he's kind of one of them weirdo guys that are out there that kind of has that hippie I'm gonna do it myself way of thinking rather than being with good training partners. For a while he was training out of his garage, if I remember right. But yes, give me D-Rod, somebody I know that's going to come forward. He's a dog. He's going to fight for your money. He's not somebody that's going to take a shot and just go down. That dude is going to fight for every penny. And yeah, I honestly think he has the better boxing of the two. So give me D-Rod by decision. Mike, go ahead, Mike. What you got on this fight?
Yeah, actually, I had that take before I broke down the fight. And that fight against Chris Curtis, Kelvin looked good. Even though, like, towards the end, we all know Chris Curtis comes with the pressure and his striking just becomes more fluid as the fight goes on. So you can't fault him for that. But even with that, he was in that fight. His movement was there. His just everything. The way his footwork and his head movement and his counter timing, everything was back to when he was like right before like that whole lead up to him knocking out Michael Bisping. When the commentary team was like, "Yo, this is Kelvin, the title challenger," they were right. That man was on when he fought Chris Curtis. Now, Sean Brady's a different animal. He was just not as strong as him. There's nothing we can do about that. But striking wise, I think Kelvin has got the edge here. The big problem is going to be that jab of Daniel Rodriguez. And I think that's going to be more of a problem as the fight goes on. But I don't think he's really just going to hurt him or knock him down like that. Even if he does, Kelvin always gets right back up. You know the chin he has. And it's just if he brings that, like the whole movement and everything, I think he's more of a problem for Rodriguez than Rodriguez is for him. So Kelvin by decision is my pick.
This has got split still written all over it. This is probably a safe split. Dude, I know Usman is as well. I've rode with Kelvin Gastelum through all these L's. I've lost money on Kelvin through all these L's. I just can't ride that train no more, man. I can't keep hoping that the guy finally shows up. That the guy that I know what he's capable of. The guy that, upset the biggest thing coming out of tough history. Like
But he
he
did.
beat Uriah. What's that?
I said, but he did. Like I'm saying, like that Chris
Yeah, yeah,
Curtis fight,
yeah.
he did. He showed up.
I know, but he's not. He doesn't always show up. He hardly ever shows up. Put it that way. He hasn't showed up in a long time. Before that, it was probably the Tyron Woodley fight was the last time that he actually. Before that fight was the last time he showed up.
Real quick question, because with that fight, he was with Fight Ready. Is he still with Fight Ready?
Dude, I don't know. He went independent for a while. He was just training with his girlfriend, who was a personal trainer, and that's when he got all that bad staph in his mouth. I think like his fucking roof of his mouth fell apart. He had staph so bad. Uh, but yeah, I don't know if he's since gotten with the gym, but I know that he was for a while training out of his garage.
Santino DeFranco is in Abu Dhabi, so I believe yes, he's still with Fight Ready.
Okay, then yeah. If he's teamed up with them, then yeah, I'm with Kelvin all the way on this fight.
And Trace, the only thing I'll say to you is that's the classic meme, bro. You stop right before you hit it big. We're betting on Kelvin Gastelum. I'll take it since I'm talking. I really do think that Kelvin is the better fighter in all aspects here. The only thing that puts me on pause is when he went down to 170 against Sean Brady. Yes, Sean Brady is a really strong guy, but even Sean Brady said he probably should go back up. He felt super weak, and I think that's his body is so used to being at that bigger weight. And I know everybody and their mother was telling him to go down because that's his natural weight class. But some bodies are just built different. You look at his sister. His sister is a damn refrigerator. She's her shoulders are freaking longer than anybody in this damn chat. She's a big old girl. His body is just built like a fridge. That's why that's his nickname. But I just think he's the most overall skilled fighter, and I've been saying for a long time that when it comes to Kelvin Gastelum, yeah, he gets hit, but I also still think he has some of the best eyes and the best in pocket head movement in the UFC. And we saw that with the Izzy fight. Izzy tried to put that jab on him and strike him from a distance, and he was able to get into the circle or get into the pocket and dodge some of those punches, something that Robert Whittaker couldn't do when that hook came around. Yeah, I'm all over Kelvin Gastelum here, and I'll be on him until he retires.
Did you watch him in that Chris Curtis fight though? That was some of the best head movement I've ever seen. He dodged a lot of punches.
Oh yeah, yeah, you do, and everybody knows how highly people rank Chris Curtis's boxing. I might not like the guy, but he's a damn good boxer. I've been saying this for a long time. Kelvin Gastelum has some of the best head movement in the pocket in the UFC.
YB, then Aussie, then me.
Mate, I was just gonna say, I have Kelvin Gastelum in this fight too. I think he's really good, mate. And if you ask me, I don't think Daniel's boxing is really all that good. Um, I think if you ask me, I think I would go with Kelvin Gastelum by decision, maybe an early KO.
That was fucking spot on, dude.
Bro, really threw us all for a loop right there.
I thought Ozzy was talking for a second.
Aussie, get after it.
I didn't appreciate that one bit. That's all.
Trace over there fucking muting
My bad,
everybody.
Ozzy. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
It's
Mute you.
always Aussie. Every time
Yeah.
we do it, it's fucking Aussie on the mic, bro.
He sending me a very clear message. Yeah, I kind of like D-Rod here, man. I mean, at this price, what I think is probably going to be a 15-minute kickboxing match. Gastelum, I think he wasted his career at this weight division, man. He was really, really good and could have done some really great things, I think, at welterweight. Unfortunately, that's not the path he chose. Yeah, at this price, I'm going to take some D-Rod. I'll probably have him some split decision. Fight ends in split, just the usual, man. I mean, we're going to see really early on what the judges are going to be like here, and I think a lot of these fights go the distance. And if you're going to give me the guys that are underdogs, what's he paying, 2-1? for split, you're probably going to get 11-1 or something like that. I kind of like that angle. So, yeah, another one where I'm taking the underdog and I'll take him by split.
Yeah, this is that card we either make a lot of money Aussie or we go broke.
That's
These
every
dogs
card
are
for me,
looking real.
brother.
These dogs are looking real appealing.
Like,
Man, so D-Rod's old as hell by your guys' standard. Ain't nobody even talking about that shit.
Yeah, but he ex-con old though, bro. He different kind of tough, man. That's like some old dried out beef jerky, man. He just fucking mean and nasty.
So what I would say,
But 100%, these guys are both finished products. We know exactly what to expect out of them. Don't expect the best out of them anymore. We know what we're going to get. And, yeah, I like betting on fighters where I know what they're going to do. And I think it's going to be 15 minutes on the feet.
Kelvin, it's 100% going to be 15 minutes on the feet. Kelvin is 32. D-Rod is he's got crazy output. If you don't know about D-Rod's output, you're probably just not a stat guy. He's all over the leaderboards for his output. He's passed Max Holloway and stayed ahead of him for good portions of time. He lands 7.3 significant strikes per minute. I think Kelvin plays the distance and probably wins the decision. Anybody in here that's still listening or just tuning in or just got back, Darce is our AI GPT model that gives probabilities on a fight. It does it all at one time. There's no multi feed. It does what it does and it spits it all out at one time. And I have to, for the videos that come out, I have to edge some of the words out because it's rough, but I don't really change anything. Darce is currently 9-0 on model, and it has called the method on 8 of those 9 fights. So if you're listening right now, you definitely deserve to hear it. But if you need to hear it or see it again, it will be over on YouTube tomorrow morning. Kelvin Gastelum is favored at 60% win probability. These are real probabilities. These are hard number crunch. This isn't odds or anything like that. This is its own model, and it kicks out percentage probabilities. Kelvin Gastelum is favored 60% over 40% to win this fight, and fight to go the distance is at 65%. Kelvin has a 15% KO chance and a 20% submission chance. D-Rod's got a 30% KO chance and a 5% submission chance. It could happen, but it's not anything that on probability is very likely. 25% chance of knockout in this fight and 10% chance of submission. But the big money seems to be on fight goes the distance, and then Kelvin Gastelum. I know betting AI or whatever sounds iffy. Maybe not something you do. Maybe not something you're comfortable with yet. And we're not telling anybody to do it. But Darce has picked that 9-0 over the last 5 weeks. So that's the Darce take on it. I think.
So,
Are we
so
going
like
to
I
move on?
said,
Go ahead.
I'm betting Gastelum by decision and by split decision.
Yeah, that sounded. I remember you saying that actually. Now that you say that you said that, I remember you saying it. All right. Next up, co-main event: Sergei Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov. This one's been cooking on the books for a minute. 57 fucking days on some books. 33 books. Uh, Alex is a plus 181. Sergey is minus 233. The over 1.5 is set at plus 120. The under 1.5 is set at minus 150. Um, some books got it minus 165, actually. That's actually pretty good money for an under for a Pavlovich fight. You usually get smoked on it. Worse than that. Um, yeah, I'll save my take at the end, and I'll do Darce because we've got it for all three of the main fights here. Mike, you want to kick this one off, bud?
Oh shit, my bad. What fight are y'all on?
Ha! This man.
I,
No, I'm
I'm doing
fucking with
write
you.
ups right now,
Sergey
man.
Volkov versus Pavlovich.
Okay, so I know from the chat that there's a lot of people on Volkov. Now, from the studies, I am on Volkov too, but one thing that is very clear is that Pavlovich gets started early, and he is a problem early. As soon as Volkov starts throwing, Pavlovich is going to have an answer, and he is going to blitz him. And his boxing. Oh man, his boxing is good, man. It's accurate. He throws it all at once, and he really just. The only way you're going to get through that is to just either survive it or you're going to get knocked out. And even though I have Volkov winning, there's a really good chance he gets knocked out in the first round. So that's my take.
Good take. Usman.
Man, so same. This guy's he's in my brain. I was going to say I like that everybody in the chat is on Volkov because I think he sticks him in the gut with that teep. He's gonna try and stay away for as long as possible, and then he's going to clinch up with him and try to get him to the ground to slow down the tank that is Pavlovich. I said on Sunday when we were looking forward at this card, would hate to be on the other side of Pavlovich punching power. I think his longest fight is like 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and that's win or lose in the UFC at least. I'm going to pick whoever Darce gives me, but I'm on Volkov.
Woo! Aussie.
Yeah, you got to take Volkov. I think at this price, I do like what's his name, the big Russian bloke. We call
Pav?
him I Pav, big Pav. I like him KO1, man. How can you not? If you got a money line bet on Volkov, you're going to be just terrified every second of that first round. I like Volkov KO1. I do think if it goes past that, sorry, Jesus Christ. I like Pav KO1. Everything past that, I like Volkov, man. I like everything Better Times was saying. I also hope he does get the takedown because if he does, that submission is live, especially on a big gassed out Russian. So I will take the sub. I hope it's something like 16-1 or something. I got it last time against Bam Bam at 19-1. So it's free money at this point. I'm just playing with house money. So yeah, give me that sub late, sub 2-3 would be amazing. Otherwise, it's probably Big Pav KO1.
Yeah, without hammering this shit to death, I agree with pretty much what everybody says. I align with Aussie. I do like the submission late. I'll probably play round 2 and 3 for both, probably KOs, and I might even put a little bit on the decision just in case Pav doesn't fall off a cliff cardio wise, like people like everybody seems to think he's going to. Um, but yeah, I think it's you got to play Pavlovich round 1 and then Volkov from there. Like honestly, best scenario is if you're on the Volkov side, is he has a rough round, he gets hurt. Pavlovich looks like money, and then falls off a cliff cardio wise, and you just bet him after round 1. And I think it's probably how I'm gonna bet him if I don't get super good odds on those sub props, which I think we will though, Ozzy. So I'm gonna follow suit with you on that one, Ozzy. Who's
Yeah, so I was going to say the same thing in the sense of like he's got 18 wins, 15 first round knockouts. The other 3 wins are all decision. Might as and I don't like that Pavlovich KO round 3 is only 1,050 for somebody who's only showed us first round finishes in the UFC. You would think that up against some of the tougher competition, he would we get ridiculous odds. Round three plus 1050. I hate it. I mean, I'll probably hit it, but I hate it. And round two KO plus 565. It's just those aren't the best odds, man. We've never seen it because they were against people that we don't know the name of, but he's won decisions before, and even here, I mean, both of these boys are tied to win by unanimous decision plus 575, to win by split decision plus 1,000. Like the books are scared about what's gonna happen. Sergey by points plus 525. I'm real skeptical when it comes to these odds, man. I don't like these line numbers at all.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, so I understand why everybody's on Volkov. I understand everybody assumes that he's going to be able to take Pav into the later rounds and win by decision. It's not real likely for him. He's not actually a decision fighter, you know. He's got 37 pro wins, and he's only been to decision for 9 of them. He's got 24 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's he's not the distance fighter that everybody thinks he is. He went on a small little run, I guess you could say, where he was going the distance and going into later rounds. But in his recent fights, um, in his last 4 fights haven't made it out of the first round, 3 of them, and the other one only went to the second round. The idea, in my opinion, that Volkov is going to take Sergei the distance and beat him is just, it's not even a good take, in my opinion. If that is anybody's take, if you feel strong about when you say it, I'm not trying to like go at you. I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's not even a good take. Alex is most likely to finish or get finished in the early, and it's got to be Pav, in my opinion. I like Alex. I think he's great to, in your head. No, he can take him the distance. It's not what he does lately, and that's what matters. I mean, you've got to go 5 fights back before he's gone 15 minutes, and that's a change. You're going back to 2021 for that. I just don't think that it's likely. Trace, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick before Darsh breaks this down, I just do want to say that I did read that it has been on tape or on record that Volkov has said that when they trained, that Sergey did get the better of him in the training. So do with that with what you will, whether you think that's them trying to sell a fight more for to get a better dog. Like I don't know if it's, Russians are corrupt, man. They're probably betting on themselves and shit over there. But yeah, I don't know if he's really getting the better of him. This cause interesting thing is he does have a even though he's the taller man, Pavlovich has a 4-inch reach advantage, which is something that he hasn't seen either. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting fight, man. So I think like you said, this fight probably more than likely ends in the first 2 rounds. I was just looking, and most of Volkov's wins are round 2, round 3, outside of like his early career whenever he just overwhelming guys. But like as he fought steeper competition, if he got finishes, it was rounds 2 or 3. So yeah, I'll be playing the late round finishes for sure. Like I said, probably the late round submission, and yeah. So what is Darsh got on this fight?
You boys do not want to hear this. So, Pav is a 60-40 favorite. That's not a crazy favorite. But he's 60-40. Volkov has a 30% KO prob and a 20% submission probability, which just, I know I don't say it, but that means he has a 50% decision probability, to be clear. That's how that works. That's how it's broke down through the DARS system. So like when you hear me say 30 on the KO, 20 on the sub, that means there's 50 on his decision. So he's a 40% favorite, or a 40% probability with 30% KO path, 20% sub path, and 50% decision path. The way that the meter works is it goes from red to orange to yellow to green to dark green. We'll never see anything at dark green at 100% or anything like that. We've never seen green on the board. Sergei Pavlovich's KO probability came in at 70%. Fight to go the distance, 20%. Fight to end by submission, 10%. Fight to end by knockout, 70% probability. Man, that is fucking overwhelming.
So what you're saying is, if we can get the submission prop at 16-1, that's value because it only implies that there's only a 10% chance. So that's actually a good deal.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. So I do not change the model. I want you guys to know that. Like, 100%, I do not alter the model of Dars unless it is literally like a refinement that all of the fights will get. Like, if I can get it to write something better or to kick it back better, then I'll upgrade it. Like right now, it is on Dars 4.0, right? But I do not tell it to do special things for any individual fight. I give you my word, but sometimes it kicks back notes, and you've heard them in the videos if you listened. And Darce actually kicked back all on its own. It said decision 20%, KO 70%, submission 10%, likely round of end. Rounds 1 or 2 for Pavlovich by KO. It splits it in the second by saying rounds 2 or 3, Volkov KO or decision. I've heard some people talking about Volkov subbing him. On probability, it's never happening. It's never happening anywhere on probability. Define all odds. I guess that's what that is, right? All right, that's all I got for the Darsh. You guys do what you want with that. I'm not telling people to bet it. I think it's fun to watch. I've said all along, if it gets to 15-0, I'm gonna start betting the shit out of it. That's been my thumb marker. And even though I really want to jump ahead, and I have bet a little bit, I haven't really bet the shit out of it, but I'm gonna bet the shit out of it if it gets to 15-0. All right, so with that, we're gonna move over to the main event, UFC Saudi Arabia. Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. I will go ahead for the first time all night. I am going to hit the full tail of the tape here. Robert Whittaker, 26-7. Ikram is 15-1. His only loss is Chimaev in the what we're going to call the regionals. Both men coming in at 6 foot, 73 inches of reach for Bobby Knuckles, 67 inches of reach for Ikram Aliskerov. He's only got 3 fights, so the stats aren't super established for Ikram, but you're at about 4.5 landed per minute for Bobby, 3.4 per minute absorbed by Bobby, 8.2. If he had his fight count, he would be the leader. 8.2 landed per minute for Ikram, but 7.1 absorbed per minute. So he'd probably be on that leaderboard too. Ikram's averaging 2.3 takedowns per 15 minutes. Bobby Knuckles is averaging less than 1 takedown per 15 minutes. On the odds board, 35 books, 3 days deep on the odds posting on our site. Plus 120 for Aliskerov, minus 149 for Robert Whittaker. The over is set at 2.5, minus 140, and the under is set at plus 110. I personally, I was on Ikram I'll say it that way. Trace, what do you got on this one? And then send it over to Mike, and then we'll let everybody else get after it.
Yeah, so I put out a tweet earlier today. I have a max bet on Robert Whittaker. I don't understand. I don't understand why the line's so close. I feel like this is just a you must have forgot moment for Robert Whittaker. Honestly, if Aliskerov's not able to get him down, if he goes for any kind of sequence like he did in his fight against Thiago Alves, or not Thiago Alves, but I forget the guy's name, the Brazilian that he just beat, where he just basically just starts winging punches without any regard for counters. First off, you're never going to pin Robert like that in the corner because of his footwork so smooth. He's going to dance around. He's going to pick up. He's going to shut down the takedowns because he had some of the best takedown defense in the UFC. Because even if you do get him down, he never settles. He never stops fighting the takedown. He's never just going to settle for the bottom. He will fight to get back up. He rolls. As soon as he hits the ground, he's rolling. It's crazy. Like, watching back some of his highlights of him just boarding the takedowns and flipping people over and setting it and ending up on top of them. It's just crazy, man. He was training for the guy that knocked out this guy in Hamzat Chimaev. He was training for a better fighter. I just don't understand. It's probably not going to be an early stoppage. It probably Robert Whittaker probably by decision. But I'm going to play rounds 4 or 5 decision on FanDuel. I know they lump those rounds pretty good. So I think if the finish happens, it probably happens late because as much as I love Robert, he's not a power puncher. He's more of an accumulation guy. And he just relentless cardio. Just you're never going to out cardio that guy. So yeah, man, I'm all over Robert here. Like I said, I have a 5-unit bet on him. And I'll also have the late round KO props as well as the 4 or 5 or decision and probably the decision prop. I'm all in on Robert Whittaker. Mike, tell me you got something for the other side.
I do. Look, man, I was on Robert Whittaker too against Chimaev. I was of the narrative that Chimaev is going to gas and Whittaker's going to put a beating on him later. But man, when I broke down that tape, Kazimot is good, man. I believe he might have a problem in round 4 and 5, but he's gonna fucking wrestle fuck him for those 3 rounds, and it's gonna be hard for Whittaker to get out of that control. If any of y'all believe that, Ikram is the next best thing to that. Ikram is, even though I would say Chimaev is better, but that doesn't make Ikram any less dangerous to fucking Robert Whittaker. The striking, albeit it's not as technical or pretty to the eye, but it does the job. He's very wild, but he's very accurate. He hits hard, and those strikes usually set up his takedowns if you can take his power. And his wrestling is really good, man. He's really good at getting to the hips, and if he gets you down, that control is something else. I understand Robert Whittaker is fucking good at moving immediately, but there's just some wrestlers you're not just gonna be able to just move against. They're just very controlling. Even if you do move, they're very good at beating you to the next position. So that's what makes their controlling style so fucking annoying. And I don't see Robert Whittaker getting away from that. I think this is going to be pretty close to what could have happened to Chimaev. I think Ikram is going to get the best of him the first 3 rounds. Those rounds 4 and 5, if Robert Whittaker isn't finished, it might be a little rough for Ikram, but I believe Ikram gets the job done.
This, boys, is called a board bet. Mike, we have a board bet, brother. Are you down for it?
Yeah.
All right, Mike is actually 1-0 against me. We actually had one a few weeks back. I don't recall what the Ezekiel Dos Santos fight whenever he fought
Randy Brown, yeah.
Randy Brown. So he's actually up 1-0 on me. We do have a graphic that Joe made. We'll get that updated for this one, and we'll start getting it posted. But yeah, man. Like I said, I'm all in on Robert. So why not? If you're confident on the Ikram, let's make a board bet out of it.
Yeah, I'm very confident. I had to watch that fight a few times, man. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, the wrestling of Ikram is not to be overlooked, man. I don't think Robert's gonna get any. I don't think he's gonna do any better against Ikram than he would have against Shemaev.
Didn't you say you were on Shemaev to lose though, or Whittaker against Shemaev? So it doesn't.
No. I said I was on Whittaker before I broke down the tape.
Oh,
Then I
gotcha,
was on
gotcha.
Shemaev.
Okay, that's my bad. All right. Well, me and Mike went at it. Who's got next on this fight?
I want to say this. I just want anybody to know that's in the crew here. Um, I will bet you dollars, but you got to sign the dollar and write why I beat you and mail it to me, and I'll mail you my dollars. We could do it. Usman, get after this fight.
Fuck all that noise, man. Robert Whittaker is gonna beat this boy's ass. We already know what's gonna happen. I think we got to remember that we haven't seen much of Whittaker's grappling defense, but the dude did qualify for Australian Olympic team. Um, I just think that at the end of the day, we're going to see that he's a better overall fighter. The striking is going to be a problem. He has good movement on the outside. I understand there's not a lot that we've seen from Ikram in the UFC. He's just looked like a badass. But I'm gonna go with the tried and true vet here in Robert Whitaker, especially with all the mumbo jumbo that's happened in the past couple of weeks.
Y'all
Fair.
must have forgot.
So something important to point out about Ikram's volume stat is 8.2 per minute. He's only fought 6 minutes 20. I think it was 8 seconds or 26 seconds. Uh, in the UFC, and he's only thrown like 53 strikes or something like that. And he's knocked out, Mario Souza and Phil Hawes, and he subbed fucking Souza and knocked out Hawes and Alves. He's not ready for Robert Whittaker, man. He's gonna get his. This is gonna look bad for him, in my opinion. Even at wrestling, like, we've got to count on him. You gotta have. We've got to know you can go deep to fight Bobby Knuckles. He'll gladly drag you to the later rounds and beat you up. I know we've seen that fail him, but that's against guys that are really, really, really um, outclassing him. You know what I mean? Like, guys that are really putting it on him, and then he's fading in the later rounds. So, you gotta wonder, is Ikram gonna put it on him? And my assumption is Ikram comes out and blows his fucking load, and then shoots some takedowns and robs stuffs, probably four or five of them. And by the middle of the second round, I think Ikram is gassed, and I think Bobby Knuckles walks away with it. Um, there's not a whole lot of proof that Ikram's going to be able to go deep. That is my take personally. Darce did align with that, and in the uh, in the footnote, but I a little more than me. So Darce has got Bobby at a 60-40 favorite. His KO's at 35%. His sub is at 10%. That means his decision probability is at 55%. Ikram is a 30% KO, 25% submission. That means he's at his win probability, or his decision probability, is 45%. Um, Fight to go to the distance, 45%. Fight to end by KO, 35%. Fight to end by sub, 20%. I would actually say this is probably the most, like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but this is the most predictable Darce board that I've seen. I could have almost wrote this my fucking self. All pretty clear to see there. But you're going to have to listen to Darce's reasoning why to get to it. But Darce did actually, all on its own, make the note that it knows it's a 5-round fight. But the most likely outcome, according to Darce, seems to be a second or third round KO, or Bobby wins by decision. It says the notice fight likely ends round 2 or 3. And then at the end, Bobby's ideal fight outcome secures KO in round 2 or 3, or wins by decision. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't. So I've seen it kick out a bunch of numbers that I do pull out. Sometimes it kicks out so many numbers that you can't really listen to it. So like I don't edit anything, but sometimes I'll just be like, I didn't ask you for that, and I'm not going to post it. But a lot of times, what it'll give me is it'll show me like round 1. Robert Whittaker KO probability 35%. Round 2, Robert Whittaker KO probability 30%. Round 3, sometimes it goes up and then it shoots back down, but it'll kick out an obnoxious amount of statistics on top of its write up sometimes. And it just posting it all is, like I said, it's not very listenable. So I'm gonna assume that Darce sees something where Bobby's KO probability goes up in rounds 2 or 3 and then fades because of cardio, just based on the way I've seen it kick out numbers before. So I don't know. That's what it kicked out, and that's what it said. Usman, get after it.
Was just gonna say, don't let Joe fool you, ladies and gentlemen. He's the biggest Ikram fan, and he's on Ikram. He just knows that Darce has sealed his fate. Don't let him slip away from this. He's on Ikram.
No, bro, and it actually. So here's the weird thing, bro. Like, you would assume that it stays on Bobby to get better for the finish. It didn't kick me the round by round shit, but rounds 4 and 5, the likelihood of the finish decreases due to potential fatigue. Aliskerov might rely more on ground control and submission attempts if the fight reaches these rounds. So it's very clear that it's telling you what could happen in rounds 4 and 5. But it still says that the fight is likely to end in round 2 or 3, and that Bobby is likely to get the decision. This is just a statistical breakdown. It factors in some things besides just fight stats. It's taken me a long time to write this model. I'm not telling you guys everything it factors in. Fuck you, write your own model. But Darce clearly sees rounds 4 and 5, and it clearly is telling us that it's going to end in round 2 or 3.
So what you're saying is I'm running Sergei by KO round 1. What was the other fight before that?
Yeah,
Gastelum by decision, and then this fight, Robert Whittaker via decision with a little KO, also with a KO prop
if
throw in there
you're
as
running,
well.
if you're running a parlay, you should be able to get KO or decision and remove
True,
the.
true.
You know, you should be able to build that parlay. But if you really want to tail it, I mean, that's really what it's saying. And it could miss one, it could miss them all. But as of to this point, the model has come through pretty well, and you guys have heard me talk about the few fights that I actually posted everything up on that came before I published the model, and it kicked the shit out of those fights too. So, yeah, whatever. I'm I, I was very torn on this fight, and I kind of went back and watched some Ikram before I ran the Darce. I didn't do the Darce shit till yesterday. I went back and watched Ikram. I watched his submission, and then I watched his KO finish in the Elvis fight, and I watched the whole other fight like 3 times. Ikram's not ready for Bobby Knuckles. Aussie.
Yeah, can you guys hear me all right? I'm just at a
You
shopping
sound
centre at the
great.
moment. Oh, okay, beautiful. Yeah. I'm just going to drop some stats here from my man, Art C. He was in the space earlier, but I think he dropped out. Whittaker has 82% takedown defense. He's only allowed 12 takedowns on 70 attempts, and I think 7 of them were from Yoel Romero, who's an Olympian. So then you look at Ikram. Ikram has a takedown accuracy of 33%. So I'm not really too scared about the takedowns in this fight. I think Whittaker's very good takedown defense. I think it's going to be standing, and Robert Whittaker is one of the very best to ever do it. And we're looking at him versus Ikram, who's relatively unknown. You know, he's fought a lot of unexperienced guys, like, and even the guys he has fought, like Wally Alves and stuff like that. Like, they're on a losing streak in the UFC. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm really confident in Rob. I will say that I very rarely get Rob fights wrong. When I bet on him, he loses. When I bet against him, he wins. But I'm on him here. I'm expecting to get all my money back. Give me Robert Whittaker money line. I like Whittaker KO4, KO5, and I like him 4-5 or decision. Yeah, give me Robert Whittaker all day.
I
Preach.
I love it. I love it, bro. I so like with looking at like what Dar said and just looking at out
Joe, try to approve Mike. I couldn't get him through.
I'm trying to approve him here. Let me see if I can invite him to speak and see if that helps. Um, I'm trying to get him through. That'll actually bum me out if he can't get back in here. Um, anyways, so I have a thing where I think that guys that are high volume with good grappling that blow their load early. It's we've seen dozens and dozens of them as fight fans, right? And a lot of times they blow their load, fucking trying to strike early, and when that doesn't go their way, um, they try to aggressively grapple. I think Bobby will be able to defend Ikram striking early, and I think he'll be able to drain him quickly if he starts shooting takedowns. And then he probably can finish him. This fight never, ever happens without the circumstances under which it happens. It's happening. It doesn't happen. Not at this point. I guess I shouldn't say never, ever, ever. There's no way this fight happens now if it is not for these circumstances. And these circumstances being short notice, Chimaev pulled out, whatever. I think that's it, though. We went 2 hours on this card. That's real strong. That's a nice card. I mean, we went pay-per-view length on it, but man, the main card's nice. It's a real nice talking card. Like, there's a lot to discuss there. So we're gonna clock that one out. That's at 2:30.
Once
Um,
again, though, real quick, Robert Whittaker minus 150 is a fucking gift. I repeat, a fucking
Oh,
gift.
I meant to say that too, man. I meant to say that. Good call, Trace. Like, you're never gonna get Robert Whittaker at that good of odds against this big of a skill gap. I just don't ever see that happening, in my opinion. I really don't. I really don't. Clock it out. UFC Saudi Arabia done. That's the end of that. Thank you to everybody who's been here listening. We're gonna do fight announcements. We love to talk about the recent fight announcements. We're gonna be in here about another half hour, probably doing this. Uh, no more than that, because that'll be the cutoff. So we got about 30 minutes here. Um, it's. I say it every week. This is my favorite segment. There's not anything I like to do better than talk about the fresh announcements before anybody can tape, before we can overthink them. It's just kind of like the best conversation time. So 2 hours, 32 minutes in. Usman fight announcements. Let's get going.
Yeah, so the fight game moves fast, huh? Just as soon as we got off last week, we had a lot of breaking news, right? First one we're going to talk about, Khamzat Chimaev is out. Robert Whittaker will now fight Ikram Aliskerov at UFC Saudi Arabia. Any thoughts on this one, guys? That was a joke. That was a joke. We go by the list. But that was the
I,
first fight lined up.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. We'll go on to the real one. Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska, new main event, UFC 303, June 29th. We did not get to talk about this yet. What do we got, boys?
The people's champ is here. Alex Pahea, dude. I mean, I don't. I just think he probably starts him again. Uh, do you think he does it in more impressive fashion this time, Usman?
My biggest question is, do we still get an over 1.5 at good odds? I know last time this fight happened, it was Gabe and I, and he and Joe had a friendly bet going on, maybe too friendly, in the chat about where the over was going to get set at. And we hit over 1.5. We hit it by seconds. Do we play it again this time? I have no clue, but I'm on Pereira, man. I'm on Pereira.
It's just, are you prepared for that kind of sweat again? Because it will be a sweat. So my biggest question, like my biggest takeaway from the fight before, and why I was on Jamal Hill was in the Prohaska fight, the first one, he was freezing Alex up against the fence when he was because for one thing he was able to do, he was able to back him up. Um, if he just straightens them punches out, man, we see it. We see a different fight here. Alex was framing up with a Thai style high kickboxing guard because that's whenever you're panicked, whenever you're uncomfortable, you revert to back to what's comfortable to you, and that is the big style, the big glove style, hand and framing up, and using those wide arms to keep people from hooking you because you could keep the big gloves out of these are small gloves. If Jerry straightens them, punches out against the fence in the same situation, he probably wins here because he has the power to put him out. I think Pereira wins this fight. I think he does. He probably knocks him out. But man, I will be sweating my ass off on this fight.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
man.
Sorry, go
No,
ahead,
no,
bud.
go ahead, go ahead. I was just gonna move on to the next one.
Um, I will say this: I wanted to be ahead, and tomorrow morning early because it's weekday, 7:30, 7:45, and 8 a.m. Eastern time. Darts will debut all the Saudi Arabia videos, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get ahead, and I'm gonna drop the main, the co-main, and the feature for 303, and I'm gonna have them set to premiere on Sunday morning, right? 10 a.m., 9:30, 9:45, 10 a.m., right? I'm like, yeah, this seems smooth. I'm gonna be honest, man. Uh Darce is 9-0 right now, and it really sways your view on a fight when you do the Darce. And that's all I'm gonna say. Like, it really sways how you fucking feel about a fight. Cause I was like, for sure, one way, and then I was like, oh wait, what? Oh shit, what? And now I'm all confused about it. So yeah, running the fights early is a fucking problem for me. I guess I don't know what else to say. Uh, Anybody who knows who I'm a fan of in here should know who Darce picked based on that. What you got next, Usman?
AP by sub.
All right. Co-main event. Is this also 5 rounds? I don't have the specifics on that. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez, UFC 303, June 29th. You know, the rules are you don't bet on stupid tattoos. The bigger rule is you don't bet on stupid hair. But I don't make the rules. You bet on the meme fighter. And in a perfect world, in my perfect world, it's absolutely hilarious that Diego Lopez comes out and finishes Brian Ortega and somehow gets a title shot before Mavzar Evloev. This is gonna be amazing. This is what I've been wanting in some of these divisions. Give me two grapplers that are just gonna roll around for 15 minutes and just make me sweat the whole time.
Bro, if that fight stays standing, Ortega is gonna fuck him up on the feet.
I don't know, man. A lot of people were saying the same thing about the Sadiq fight, and of course, Sadiq is not on Ortega's level, but
Ortega got that Mexican chin, bro. He ain't going down.
ooh, Mexican chin versus Brazilian Mexican chin.
That is a fucked up scenario. That is a hard choice.
I will say, and
I do have. Go ahead, Joe.
I've given this out in our chat, and I'll give it out here, but I won't give out anything else. And it really does not tell you where everything lands, but The most probable finish in that fight is Diego Lopez by submission.
Which is absolutely nuts. It's off the wall crazy right there.
But it is the most probable thing to happen.
All right, on to the next one. Uh, Carlos Oberg was our 303 co-main event. He's now bumped down to the main card featured fight and will be fighting Anthony Smith. I love this one too. I was excited to see him versus Jamal Hill, but against Anthony Smith, I feel like this is a good test. And all these fights that I'm listing off are going to be bangers, man. You're not going to stop me from talking. Anybody?
Yeah, I like Smith here, man. I don't understand the. I mean, I get it. His call outs are kind of dumb, but like I enjoy Anthony Smith's commentating. I enjoy him on the Believe You Me podcast. I think he does a good job over there. Um, I think he does pretty good analysis on everybody's fights but his own. To be fair, uh, good test for Oldberg. Good, well-rounded fighter. I think he's smart enough to know, like he said, he's not going to stand and fight this man on the feet. He's not going to give him what he wants. He is going to give him an MMA fight. So it'll be a true test for Oldberg. So we're going to see if the kid's legit or not. But I might have to take a shot on the boy Anthony Smith by sub.
Man, you should get good odds on that.
Oh yeah, I love losing money.
I mean, we, it's hit for him before though, right? So how could you, I guess whatever. I biggest discrepancy I've seen.
This has got to be one of those spots where Pacino was supposed to knock him out in the last fight, and Anthony Smith got the win. And now Oberg actually does knock him out. Before I get into the next fight, let me tell you about my dream last night. A full on nightmare that felt like it lasted 6 hours. I was sitting there with my uncle and my dad, and I couldn't get UFC 303 to load. We even thought about buying it, and no matter what, my homeboy was texting me in the dream, all the fights are over. They were great. So I think that lets you know exactly how pumped I am for UFC 303. I'm having nightmares about it. I'm having nightmares about not being able to watch it. So,
You're dumb as fuck for that, but I love you too.
dude,
Go
it's true.
ahead.
I woke up and I was like, is that really the longest nightmare of all time? Johnny Parsons versus Yasaku Kinoshita at UFC Vegas 95, August 10th. I like me some Parsons. I like me some Kinoshita, and both of these guys are going to punch each other in the face real fucking hard. So, we're going to like this fight a lot.
There was a time in the UFC where I knew everybody's name and could put a face to them right away. But dude, it is so hard nowadays. There's so many people. Like I can do Kinoshita, but Johnny Parsons off the top can't do it. Uh,
Johnny Parsons is tiny Tai Tuivasa. He's got the thighs of Tai Tuivasa, but he's welterweight, tiny Tai Tuivasa. He looks exactly like him.
yeah,
Dude,
go ahead, Mike.
aside from Steve Urseg, Johnny Parsons has had the best fight I've ever seen outside the UFC. He is a must watch.
So it's safe to say that you're on Parsons and not Kinoshita.
Oh, definitely. That's just a fan in me though. So yeah.
All right, Usman, what you got next, bro?
Cool, cool. Breaking news: Internet sleuths went ahead and checked out all the backgrounds of Dana White to figure this one out. Dricus Duplessis will fight Israel Adesanya at UFC 303 in Perth, August 17th. And you know me, man. I go with intangibles. Dricus is gonna mount the floor with Izzy. I'm sorry, it's Izzy's time is done, and it's time for the real African to hold the belt.
I think it's a really bad matchup for Izzy. I don't see how it's a much better matchup than Strickland. Um, yeah,
I
I
mean, if you're going off that fight, perceivably it's the worst matchup because he out Strickland.
ideally, or even if you think Strickland got fucked, he Strickland the Strickland either way. It's just it's not any better of a matchup for him, and it's I'm not even discrediting Izzy. Like I know I give him some shit. I'm not doing that at all. I just there's clearly a bad matchup for him, and this looks about the same as that bad matchup. That's my only point there.
Bro, if I get
I
Izzy
don't
at dog
know.
money, if I get Izzy at dog money, I gotta take that. Like if they fuck up and give this man the underdog spot, you gotta take the underdog in this fight. Is basically what it is. Because if he's able to implement the range, unlike like he couldn't with Strickland, he pieces him up. But if not, he gets swarmed, like you said.
I don't know. Anyone ever feels like that was just a weird fight for him, Strickland? Because even though Dricus is a dog, and I love watching him whenever he gets beat up and he's just like, all right, fuck it, we're about to just fight now. I love when he does that. But I don't. The striking, man. I think Izzy's just on another level. The only thing Dricus can do, he's gonna have to take him down and just dominate. But striking, Izzy's gonna fuck him up.
Well, Izzy's problem with Strickland was the jab.
Yeah, he couldn't get it going. And yeah. I don't. But the jab is gonna be there against Dricus.
Connor,
His
you
striking
better.
defense is not there
No. I'm
like
saying
Sonya's.
Strickland's jab was the problem for Izzy. Is what I was saying.
Oh, his jab. But that was because Izzy couldn't get his own jab off. That's usually what he works everything off of. He wasn't able to do that because Strickland was just pressuring and making him miss and deflecting his shots. Dricus isn't going to do that. Dricus is he's just an explosive fighter and he can time that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think on the feet, I think it's a mismatch. But if he gets him down, that's a whole different story.
I do want to say I heard you say that you think that was a weird fight for Strickland. The first fight that Darce did before we started counting, I had done like a win probability or submission probabilities. I had really worked each thing individually to get it to give it to me over several fights. And the first fight that I put it all together, and it took me hours to get it to all go right. And I asked it about Strickland and Izzy. That was the first one, and it's on our Twitter, on the team page. You can go read it. Um, it actually, Darce actually said that Strickland's pressure would be too much for Izzy and that he would walk him down and that it would get progressively worse as the fight went on and that Strickland would win a dominant decision. And then he went out and did it as a huge underdog. And that I didn't have time to put effort into Darce, but I saved all of my work and made sure I lost nothing and knew that I would come back to it at that moment. So while that does maybe seem like a weird fight, probability had an AI tell you exactly how that fight was going to go.
Shoot, you didn't need an AI, man. I had been saying Strickland was the horrible, horrible matchup for Adesanya for years before this. And the only thing that bit me in the ass was I thought Izzy was going to do a little better because I was banking in on Strickland by split decision.
Yeah, we
And
were all over that split.
we know that that didn't freaking happen. My thing is when it comes to Duplessis to striking, I still think a lot of people underrate it and just think it's explosiveness. I came away from that Strickland fight, whether you thought he won or lost, really putting a lot of respect on Duplessis' striking. Does it look ugly? For sure. Does he have moments where he's almost damn near falling over himself 100%? But the angles that he's throwing at, the weird ass combinations, it's almost very fucking hard to time. Like, who else has put Strickland on his back foot like that and just completely put him in defense mode and had to play an Adesanya game? I had done a write up on how Adesanya and Strickland are two halves of the same coin, and to where that Strickland is a perfect counter for Adesanya's game, but they both have the same issues, in my opinion, when it comes to the striking. And for Dricus to already see half of that right there, he's going to have the physicality. I think if he gets it to the ground, a pretty fucking hard time. We did see him get to hold down Robert Whittaker for a while, at least until the round ended. I really think, despite him looking like a doofus, we've got to put respect on Duplessis' striking game.
Jade, I seen you request the mic, brother. You got something you want to say, my man?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a great matchup, but I think Izzy's going to outclass him. I do think it was an aberration. I do understand what you're saying, that you believe that Strickland was a tougher matchup than a lot of people thought previously. But I think if you look at DDP, he has a propensity to rush in and throw combos with his chin up, and I think Israel has a slight speed advantage, and I think he's going to probably pick him apart on the feet. That's my take. What do you guys think?
I think personally the problem that Izzy is going to have from here on out is somebody laid the blueprint. Someone showed it, and if you're big enough and strong enough, physically big enough and strong enough to stand in front of Izzy, and you can learn to just shuffle step forward, meaning literally just set your front foot, move your back foot, set your front foot, move your back foot, set your front foot, move your back foot. And if you can train for a camp to just do that unconsciously, you're gonna walk him down. You're gonna throw this straight because it's all you're gonna fucking drill for your entire camp, and you're just gonna beat the shit out of him down the middle, pressuring him, walking right at him. Sean Strickland showed you something that Alex Pereira had already done previously, but he doesn't. He's different. He didn't need the pressure time that Sean had. Sean went and trained with AP. After AP knocked Sean out, Sean went and trained with him and shit. Sean went and consulted him about fighting Izzy. And AP gave him the fucking blueprint and said, this is how it's done, and this is how you're going to have to do it. And you've seen guys be able to walk forward even after Pierre was losing. Go watch when he knocks him out. He walks forward and then he knocks him out. That's how he doesn't hit him going backwards. He doesn't hit him on the back foot.
Given that there is a blueprint, what work do you think they've done in his camp, because he has a really good team over at Kick City Boxing, to mitigate against that?
Probably, fucking literally boxing striking defense. Try to break him of the kickboxing striking defense that he uses, and try to get him to take on a more traditional boxing defense. The problem you have with that is if Izzy has to change his stance, he can't fight how he fights, in my opinion. I don't think he does well from any traditional boxing stance. So I don't know. I think it's a hard thing. Izzy's built everything he's ever done on a stance that is vulnerable to the straight, to the jab. It's not just Izzy. If you stand the way Izzy stands, that is going to be a problem for you. You stand wide, you stand open, and if someone steps into that space and throws the jab, and then steps into that space and throws the jab, and just does it on repeat, it's going to be a huge problem. So I don't know that they can correct it. I don't think Izzy isn't a great fighter. I don't have anything bad to say about him. I just think guys like Drakus and Sean, the blueprint is laid. Bobby Knuckles will never beat him because he's not big enough to do something like that, is what I'm saying. You have to be big enough as well. And I just think that DDP is just going to rinse and repeat and probably see success. But the split probably looks way sexier in this one than it did in that one. Usman.
I think we see a refocused Israel Adesanya for this fight, and he comes back in and tears up Dricus Duplessis on the feet.
Maybe Usman.
So, for one, I don't know what the hell Connor is on, because it's like we've given Strickland comments, we've given Duplessis comments, and we've given Adesanya comments, and that boy is just
Bro, his
thumbing
emojis tell a
down
story
everywhere.
of 1,000 different stories. You can't tell who he's going for.
But
Okay.
to go to Jade's question, man, I really don't think that they can fix the issues. The reason why I was so heavy on Strickland is he throws linear shots, and the striking defense of Adesanya is him relying on his tall man defense, leaning back. It's always been leaning back. He's always been tall enough and long enough to get out of the out of the way of the strikes. And if you're gonna throw that straight shot, you throw 2, 3, and you're gonna find that chin. You throw the 1 or 2 and a little lower, and you're gonna hit the body. You're gonna hit the chest. And I think that's just something that he's always going to be stuck with. And like Joe said, if you attempt to fix it right now, you're just gonna be putting yourself into some bigger problems, some bigger holes. Yeah, I think even when we look at the Kelvin Gastelum fight, Kelvin Gastelum was doing a really dumb looking, non advisable Muay Thai kind of leg up hop into the pocket space. And Duplessis's blitz look very, very dumb, but if he can avoid that first strike as he hops into the pocket, he's going to be perfectly in range to land a hook while that chin is up in the air and leaning back, or land a straight. Another good thing that I liked about Duplessis in that Strickland fight was he did mess with the hands while Strickland was leaning back. But what we saw, and this is another one of those just really weird, awkward combinations, is in the pocket. He would throw the hands, miss, and then end with that body kick that came around, and it always scored. It always scored, and it always looked good. It always sounded hard. So, I just really think that people are underestimating Duplessis striking.
Appreciate it. Don't get it twisted, guys. Usman did like 4 hours of tape on that fight. This isn't off the dome. He ain't playing me. He ain't slick.
Hey, does anybody remember what? Like, I know it was post fight. Does anybody remember post which fight Drakus called himself the true African? Fuck, I'm gonna have to go find it.
Yeah, I was gonna say nobody's gonna answer that because nobody knows.
Fuck. All right, I'll find it. Anyway, we fucking half-houred this fight. Usman, what do you got next?
I was gonna say timestamp that right there because we went through it. Christian Duncan, everybody was pretty lit about his more recent fight or his fight coming up. He's out. It took a week's notice. Fight game moves fast. Chris Duncan is out of his fight with Nazim Sadikov. Markel Medeiros will take his spot at UFC Denver July 13th.
You see the video of him pulling the pus out of his staff? It was disgusting.
Oh no, I did not see anything. I don't know why Chris Duncan was out. So he's got staph and he's
Yeah,
got vials of.
it looked like it was his knee, but I couldn't really tell. But yeah, there's a video on Twitter of him grabbing it and just pulling it. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting. All right. The
Mike,
goat has a.
I'd
Go
seen
ahead. Go
Michael.
ahead.
I'd seen Michael starting to talk. Did you have some of that, Mike?
Oh no, I was gonna say that's a good matchup, Markel. You said Markel Medeiros, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Markel, I think everyone underestimated him in his last fight, and they bet like I remember I put him as a part of my best bet parlay, and he was like a -200 favorite, and it got bet down to a pick 'em. I had to rewatch the tape just in case I was missing anything, but I knew I was right. The dude's for real, but I don't think he's beating Sadikov.
Mike, real quick question. Is this Markel guy the guy that fought Landon in that fight you're talking about?
Yeah, Landon Quinones.
Oh, dude.
I did not understand that at all. I was like, what is everyone looking at? He's not going to win.
Oh, Landon's just the goat, bro. He's just the goat. That's what
Oh my
happened.
god.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He's nice, man.
All right. I called Landon the GOAT, but he's not the GOAT. The real GOAT is Jose Medina, and he is finally making his UFC debut against Zachary Reese on an August event, August 24th. Just his UFC event. No name, no nothing yet, but August 24th. Let me
Zachary.
get
So he went down, right?
Against Zachary, who you kind of cut out there.
Zachary Reese versus Carla. What was it? Jose Medina.
Jose
Yeah,
Medina.
Jose Medina looks like the baddest dude from the local water hole in Mexico. Like he's got that pudgy looking Mexican, like he probably just gonna walk you down and beat you up. But he didn't look impressive in his
Nah, man, Mexican dudes are
loss from the
nice.
contender series. And yeah, man, I feel like you I don't know how you bet that guy in that fight.
Ooh, Taylor, I see you trying to talk. You want to say something?
Is he making his debut against him? Is that his debut fight?
Yes, it's Jose Medina's debut.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is Reese's second or third fight.
Third.
No, he's gonna get fucked up though. That's a bad fight.
Who's gonna get fucked up? You gotta elaborate a little more.
Jose, dude, that dude
Oh
cannot.
yeah, for sure.
Nah, I can't. I
Yeah, like I
can't take
said,
him.
he's the
No.
looks like he's the local watering hole champion. You know what I'm saying?
This is gonna be a
Yeah.
classic. Y'all must have forgot moment for Jose Medina. Get ready, boys. Y'all
Little
didn't
did
see
we
his performance in Contender Series.
little did we know that's actually Cabbage Kahea. He can take a punch and keep on ticking. Y'all remember Cabbage, right? I'm not alone on that island, right?
I get that. I get that. But the tank don't hit back.
All right, gone silent a little bit. Next fight, Jai Herbert versus Rolando Bedoya at UFC Abu Dhabi on August 3rd. Man, I feel like if you're better, you've probably been on the wrong side of either one of these fighters. So let's just see somebody get knocked the hell out, right?
Yeah, you probably just take an under on that one and skate away from it, man, because them boys are gonna bang and then somebody's gonna get clipped. Like Jai's that guy that looks great until he gets knocked out.
Well, he only got
You're like
knocked out
lagging really
against
bad.
Ilya,
Taporia.
to be fair, yeah, it is Ilya, but like back
And
then it was just
remember, he almost knocked out Ilya.
oh yeah, and that fight gave me a lot of fucked up illusions of Ilya, where I faded him when I probably shouldn't have. I thought if Jai could hurt him, that I for sure thought Volkanovski was gonna beat him, but yeah, we're getting off topic now. But yeah, interesting fight should be a banger.
I think it's a draw, honestly.
No, you better bet that if you got a strong take like that, man, because these are what like he's like 50 to 1 at the lowest, and I like that fight
I
right
wouldn't
there.
trust Vegas on this one. I think it's gonna be a draw.
That fight right there is gonna be such a war if you get with that one. You gotta imagine it's gonna be an under for that fight.
I don't know. I think that can go over.
I guess it really depends on what the over is set at 1.5, 2.5. At 1.5, I 100% would like to hit that over.
Well, I'm talking about just over. I think it's going the distance. I don't think either one of them are going to get knocked out.
So on to the next one. Last UFC fight we have listed here. I feel like there's gotta be a typo here since they're brothers. Maybe they got it wrong. Maybe the UFC doesn't know who the hell they're matchmaking for. But UFC Abu Dhabi, August 3rd. Javid Bashra will fight Chris Gutierrez. Now maybe I'm wrong, but isn't Fareed the better Bashra who deserves a ranked opponent? Why the hell is Javid getting a? Isn't this one the one that just got beat by Ayman Sahabi? What the hell is going on here?
It should be Fareed.
Right? I even had to look up his name
Bro,
right now.
respect Ayman Zahabi, bro.
Oh, hey! I was on Ayman Zahabi. That was a great cash. I'm saying Ayman
Same.
Zahabi should be getting this. Ayman Zahabi should be getting this fight. Fareed should be getting this fight. Why the hell is Javid getting a ranked opponent in Chris Gutierrez?
Didn't Fareed
Hell,
pull out?
yeah, I think this fight, or I think this fight is canceled. No. This was another replacement. He was supposed to fight somebody else, and the opponent pulled out. So
No,
Gutierrez
no,
is a
I'm
late
talking about
replacement.
Fareed. Like Fareed pulled out this weekend. He was supposed to be fighting this weekend.
Just a
His
quick look
opponent
on.
pulled out. It would have to be his opponent if he's still fighting.
No, this is
Fareed?
for Abu Dhabi, guys. Fareed is definitely not fighting this weekend.
Right.
Fareed was scheduled to fight. Give me a second.
Jackson.
Montel Jackson, yes, and they were looking for a replacement.
So I mean, honestly like if Gutierrez is able to get the kicks going, the leg kicks early. Fareed does have that. They do have that wide wrestling stance. So and they're heavy on that front foot. Gutierrez could eat that leg up, but I feel like Fareed just overwhelms and takes him down and just a Fareed Bastrat fight, you know,
Javid?
a Bastrat fight. God damn it!
No, man. I
Yeah,
think, yeah, Javid, that movement of Javid is something else, man. I don't think Chris is going to be able to. Well, he might be able to touch him, but I think Javid is going to touch him more.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I did not like what I saw from. I'm right here with you, Mike. It seems like both of us were on Eamon Zahabi, but I didn't like that look from Javid at all, and I kind of like Chris Gutierrez in this one.
Well, Zahabi is a frustrating fighter. He frustrated Basharat. There's no going around that. Zahabi is not gonna lead the dance. He's gonna make you come to him, and he's gonna counter you. And Javid got frustrated with that, so he opened himself up even more, which is why he lost the fight. But I don't think that takes away from what Javid does.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Hey, maybe you can get a board bet with me going on for that one. You'll send me $1 with your name on it when it comes down to that time, brother. So that's the last UFC fight, but got a couple more for Bellator that I just have to throw out there. We ain't got to talk about them if you don't want to. September 14th, Bellator is going to London, and the title match on the top of that card is going to be Johnny Eblen versus Fabian Edwards. Rematch, part 2. Yeah, I didn't think anybody cared about that, right?
I unmuted my mic and remuted it.
So I
So,
bought the Matt Favola steamroller, his bong or his steamroller little pipe that he has with something assault. I can't think of the brand right now, but
Does it
hey,
suck?
high reviews, man. That bitch is smooth. That's probably the best. I bought 2 pieces from it's something Arsenal. I can't think of the name, but JV Arsenal or something like that.
MJ
MJ
Arsenal.
Arsenal. Hey, quality fucking pieces, buddy.
okay, look, I get it. You didn't like that one. This is the last fight on here. At least we can get a little bit excited for it, right? Pachango Arena, San Diego, Bellator, Saturday, September 7th. Usman Nurmagomedov versus Alexander Shabli. Anybody? Mike?
Oh
Come on, you
yeah.
degenerate ass.
Who?
Oh, dude, no, they're both good. I still think Usman's gonna win though.
At least I can get something out of you, Mike. Appreciate that. Well, that's it. That's all for fighter announcements.
Well, I guess that's the whole space. I thank you much for
Uh,
doing.
did anybody watch the new episode of The Ultimate Fighter tonight?
Oh,
Didn't
not tonight, but I will say from last weekend, I'm riding with the depressed Viking. Not just because he won with that fucking elbow in 15 seconds, but I'm getting vibes. I'm getting vibes from the depressed Viking.
Yo, I thought he was going out there to get fucking KO'd, and then my man just thumped him.
Freaking short right hook elbow. Is that what you want to call it? Was a little hook and elbow. That was
How
beautiful.
many episodes in is it right now?
Tonight is the third episode.
Fights have been pretty good actually.
I'm not catching.
The guy that I like, or one of the guys that I like to win the show, has already fought, uh, and he looked impressive. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a decent season.
It's looking like it. These fights have been really good.
I mean, from the first episode, I thought both of those featherweights looked absolutely humongous. Like I thought they looked like fucking giants. I thought we were watching middleweight fights.
Yeah, Rudy Roots is the one that I watched tape on these guys going in. I'm not going to give anything, but he's the guy that I think is going to win the series for the small guys. He just reminds me a lot of Rob Dvalishvili, the way he fights. That high pressure, a lot of takedowns. I think he's going to be good.
I mean, to beat a Mexican Olympian in that first round, and I can't remember the Mexican's name, but that boy put on a pretty hellacious pace from the get go, and Rudy was able to deal with it pretty damn good, and then put the pressure back on him. I like that as well. But we're
And
all
just
about
think
the
about it.
depressed Viking.
All about the press Viking. But yeah, like even that, like he doesn't even need a nickname. Just Rudy, dude. Imagine just hearing that in the fucking UFC. That's gonna be huge.
Ozzy, I saw the hand go up, bro. You speak up.
Yeah, man. I was just going to ask, what are the weight classes for this season, and was the first episode worth watching? Do you think the whole season's going to be worth
I
watching?
think it's either bantam or flyweights, and then
No, featherweights and middleweights.
featherweights, middleweights. I know the small guys.
And personally, yeah, I think it seems like it's going to be a pretty good season. All these guys look pretty good.
All right. So I do want to say I'm going to double down on what I said a couple weeks ago, and I'm starting to hear. I think I heard Michael Bisping say the same thing now. I want to comment on the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight again. Now that Mike Perry, Jake Paul are official for a fight, um, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, hands down, would have been the most watched fight in history. Mike pulling out probably has a lot of people doubting him. That probably killed a lot of viewership. That viewership will likely pick up if those people realize the fight is on, when they're watching something else or when they're looking for something to watch. A lot of it will probably pick up. If Jake Paul does what everybody wants him to and gets knocked the fuck out by Mike Perry, that fight is worthless. Um, Probably still does what'll be like braggable numbers. Million views, Jake Paul or something, 5 million views or something, something crazy, but it won't be the biggest fight in history. But I would argue that 50 million people would tune into that fight. It's part of a Netflix subscription. We looked it up, it's like 240 million subscriptions. That doesn't even include the shares. Your buddy uses it over there. And I know they say you can't do that shit anymore, but you can. You absolutely can. So I would sincerely say, I bet you if Jake Paul comes out of that and if he knocks Mike Perry out, it might help. I don't think anybody will really know that is the casual watcher, but as long as Jake Paul doesn't get knocked out, I'm guessing 50 million people watch that fight. That might seem crazy to you guys, but I'm betting. I would bet on it. Usman.
So, quick question before I go. Are you saying that Mike Perry Paul is going to do 5 million and then 50 million for Mike Tyson, Jake Paul?
No, I'm saying if he gets knocked out by Mike Perry, you might still do a couple million because Jake Paul has a huge following and the kids' parents all have Netflix subscriptions. And a bunch of old people will still tune in because it's Mike Tyson. But as long as Jake Paul doesn't get knocked out uh, by Mike Perry, it then it will do 50 million fucking people will tune in, bro. Because everybody in between the Jake Paul fans and the old people that used to watch Mike Tyson live, everybody in between is gonna tune into. Um, it'll. I really think it'll be the biggest fight in history if Jake Paul does not get knocked out in July.
Okay, because I was going to say, I think it's very telling that Netflix said, "Damn, that sucks." And I know you built this badass card underneath y'all, but we don't want anything to do with it if it doesn't have Mike Tyson. This is gonna be sold as pay-per-view on the Zone from now on, and I think it also just brings up the question. Jake Paul had a Amanda Serrano on the card. We had the Chavez Till fight on the card, and that's still all gonna go down. But what supporting actors is he going to bring out for the eventual Tyson Paul card when that happens? Because the casuals didn't give a damn, but I thought it was pretty cool to see that the undercard on it was had some notable names on it.
I'm gonna double down and say if Mike Perry knocks Jake Paul out, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul never happens. Trace.
See, this is what I see for this happening. I think this is we present Mike Mike with a chance to make a big bag here. He knows that he's not going to win this fight. This is a fix from the get go. We have we have Perry losing the fight here. So we build up to the Tyson fight, And being the smart businessman that Jake Paul is, you got to give him that. Uh, if he's smart, he goes in and he takes a dive and loses to Mike Tyson, and give one of the greatest feel good moments in recent sports memory. Mike Tyson knocks out the problem child. It does numbers. People are gonna buy people are gonna want to watch it. They're gonna watch the replay. That replay is gonna do huge numbers. If he's smart, he fixes it to where he wins, and then, bro, I would let Mike Tyson knock me out to be able to say I got knocked out by fucking Mike Tyson, wouldn't you? Like, dude, that's gonna sell so much fucking money, and it makes sense. Like, and I think he would do it.
Hey Trace, all I have to say is I can hear that TV in the background and turn it up, my dog. That's my jam. Let me wake up my daughter.
Yeah, she's chilling right now, but we'll put her ass to bed finally. Nobody else think that's a possibility. I'm tripping.
Um, I don't know. I think Jake Paul is on a mission to call himself the greatest boxer, never boxing any real boxers. So, nah, I think he wants to beat an old man up. I think he really does. I think he's I think he's that guy. I think he's the type of guy that would beat the shit out of a 60-year-old man for fame, not even money, for fame, and make sure old man gets a huge bag so he won't turn it down.
Just so y'all
That's
know, when this shit happens, I will have it. I will have one of you guys clip it because y'all are better at editing than I am. But I will have you guys clip the knockout where Mike Tyson knocks out Jake Paul, and then behind that throw Bradley Cooper from the Hangover saying he still got it. We gonna make that shit happen. That's gonna be a big.
You remind me before that fight goes down, and I will legitimately get prepped for that one.
My man, what you got next?
That's it. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks everybody that came to the end. A lot of guys been here for fucking hours, whole time. The co-host, we don't got enough co-host spot. Dead Pix is our tech guy, man. He streams for us. Mike, new to the team, but he breaks down everything. Him and Trace killing on fucking tape study. Trace is the co-host here. Usman is the other co-host here, but he really got his own show on Sunday night, so he's not really a co-host. I'm just nice to him when he's here. I don't want him to be all mad and quit on Sundays. And then, there's me. I'm the best guy in here. No, I'm just fucking around. CapMMA.com. I promoted earlier. Guys, it's free. It's ad-free. It's pop-up free. There is... there's no gimmicks to it. There's nothing like that. There's a few errors sometimes. Um, it's pulling everything live from everywhere. It's AI. When you look at the rankings for a promotion on our website, those are live. We don't have a database. It retrieves it for you in 0.7 fucking seconds or whatever. When you look for the UFC record boards on our site, it goes and fetches that shit live for you. When you look up Tail of the Tape, PFL, 1, UFC, it's got official resources. It checks those resources. When it says no data found, that means the official fucking source has no data on it. When you type someone's name and you check scorecards, we have, if you can find an MMA scorecard on the internet that we don't have, please give it to me. I will fucking catalog it. I lay that challenge. Please find a scorecard for MMA on the internet that we don't have, because I fucking need it. But we have them all. I've had AI search for them. I've searched for them. I mean, like, I have fucking put together a database of cards. If you check odds, it searches odds, but that really sucks and doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. Do everything else. And I will have the news feeds up next to the fighters' names with all of the articles about them no later than tomorrow evening. So capmma.com. Check us out on YouTube. Lots of traffic over there. We're killing all our other platforms. except for X and YouTube. So check us out over there. That's all I got. Trace, Usman, Dead Picks, Mike. Thank you for being the team. Listen, man, everybody knows. I thank everybody every week that they're here. All you guys that have been here for hours. Thank you all, man. Connor J, we should set up some formal debates. You're good at like me, you don't really have to have good reasoning. You just argue the shit out of something. We should set that up.